Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Wednesday Night Modern here at the Nerd Rage Gaming Home Store in beautiful Buffalo Grove, Illinois. I'm Dom Stryker alongside May.
That's me. Was it Strongbad who first pronounced it Illinois?
I don't know. I just love it.
I think it was. I think it was Strongbad. I think it was one of the early SPB males.
You're saying so many things I don't understand. And everybody, welcome. Somebody somewhere requested Domain Zoo. I don't know where, I don't know how, but Haviva heard the request, and here we are. Left side, Chris Adams, Domain Zoo, and right side, Nick Wolney on Prowess. So we have Boogeyman-ish of the format on the right side in Prowess, and maybe a hero in Domain Zoo on the left.
I feel like Domain Zoo is what Prowess used to be, right? Just this incredibly aggro deck with a little bit of disruption going on.
Yeah, remember Leyline Scion days when that was the biggest, baddest thing you could do?
There was a time where that felt like the best thing you could be doing.
Yes. And Domain Zoo for some folks is like big brother of Boros.
Right.
Like it has some of that same like Ragavan, creature beat, interact a few times, flage, the game ends sort of thing going on. But instead, sometimes you get to pop a Leyline out, you get to pop a big 4/4 flyer out, and things go a little bit bigger than Boros does.
I do wonder if Prowess is able to deal with a turn 2 Leyline Scion, right?
I can't believe it, right? So you would have a 4/4 flying first strike, lifelink, all the other
Hexproof,
words.
right?
Yeah, first strike, hexproof. There's one for each color.
Yeah.
Lifelink, like it's
Trample.
gonna be bad. Trample.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a brick wall.
It's a brick wall, right? Like so. Oof.
Oh, not like this.
So Chris also bottomed a Leyline. Oh no, is that a 1-land hand?
That's okay. Those surveils.
Oh, it's
No,
2 lands.
two
Okay.
for we're good. So Chris, okay, very importantly, if you are a Domain Zoo player, I know it is very tempting to leave your fetches uncracked and use them as mana sources, so on and so forth. If you have the ability, at least crack one just in case, so things like your Territorial Kavu don't accidentally die if your Leyline gets bounced, right?
Right.
There's little tiny things. It won't matter right now. Chris might be looking for fetch for interactive spell, might be looking for a surveil land. A lot of things could happen, but it's just a warning because I see it happen all the time of players accidentally killing their own Kavus.
I feel like also just like fetch for surveil land is pretty good if you're not spending your mana on turn 1 anyway.
Yeah, I wonder Chris might have a bolt for this DRC, but instead just take one.
Take one.
If it's just doing one, I'm not worried about it.
So I think against Prowess, I really love the take the damage, kill your guy second main phase.
Oh,
like,
I learned that from Infect.
Yeah. So because it's like, you're tempted to snap it off right away, and it looks a little weird at first when you're like, okay, yeah, you took the damage and then you're gonna lightning bolt my guy, but you really don't want to put your removal spell into a pump spell.
Yeah, I don't want your mutagenic growth to become counterspell and +3 damage to me, right?
Exactly.
So that's one of the big thing about the prowess decks. I've seen a lot of times against damage-based removal, they'll just hold mutagenic growths to just act as a counterspell when people try to throw bolts or whatever at their creatures.
Or what is the standard removal spell? Not cast a cut down.
Cut, sure, right?
Yeah.
So there's all these ways to like be careful and be purposeful, and especially like a patient prowess player. I've seen patience really pay off for them. Like we saw for Chris, we're getting that surveil land. Starting again, this is land number 2, and we saw in that Arid Mesa. At minimum, I at least see Tribal Flame, so if this DRC's got to go.
No, I think it's a Scion. Oh, no, it's Kavu. Okay.
Now, like I said, I'm glad we cracked that fetch, because we don't want to ever risk it.
Right. Yeah, you tap both your lands, and then you get your thing bounced. Probably not a huge issue against Prowess. I don't think they're playing any game 1 bounce effects. Like, they're not into the flood mawing or anything.
All right. Do you think Chris is dead? So first action is Slickshot came off suspend. Delirium is currently 1, but every game action Nick takes from here on out could surveil as well as put the spell itself in. So you can see trigger. This EI will be Delirium 2, and if Nick mills over any of those not those 2 types.
Okay.
What's real important is sometimes a very non-active
Oh.
DRC can become a very active one. You see the bobble?
I see the bobble. That's a good one to have, and we definitely have a.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The mountain became exiled all of a sudden.
Yeah, it was like, wait a second, what's going on here? So we're gonna play the mountain.
So
play the bobble.
And the bobble will put the slick shot up to 5 damage, and Nick could surveil a 4th type over.
Well, Nick also has aggressive urge. So
Violent Urge?
The Violent Urge.
But it requires Delirium for it to be a good card.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. It gives your Darcy flying when you cast it.
Yes.
Because
we'll give +1/+0 flying and first strike. If we think about it that way.
If we think about it that way.
We could think about it that way.
I mean, I'm just trying to count the damage. So I think the answer is Chris is not dead, right?
Chris was closer to dead than Chris knows.
Yeah, because we went from 18 to 15 or 13.
Yeah.
Only taking 5, but another spell, a double strike, delirium. If we all of those surveils hadn't hit the same 2 types.
Right. If Nick found an instant or creature in any of those, I do think Chris died this turn.
Yeah, it's a pretty good card on top of Chris's deck, though.
Because it would have been 7 +1 to 8, double to 16 +3, 19. Yeah. So if Delirium was hit, that would have been donezo. Instead, Chris doesn't know just how close it was. And we saw, was that Flage on top?
It was Flage on top. Flage is going to clear out probably the show off.
Yeah, the card with the most possible damage output, right? DRC, we know, can max out at doing 8 damage to us next turn, and Slick Shot can go a lot higher than that.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, the pseudo time walk effect of gain 3 life.
Oh yeah, Chris being at 16 is a multiple spells being cast, is a Slick Shot trigger, all of those sorts of things. And exiling the artifact from the yard is huge off the Kavu attack, recognizing the importance of Delirium.
Don't want to draw and discard. Turn Delirium off.
Right, because artifact kind of one of the more free types for prowess, but there's only just the 4 baubles, so it's gonna be a lot harder for Nick to now get types 3 and 4.
So you could go upstairs, a little greedy to do so. So clear out that.
Yeah, put
And
Chris up
in-
to 16.
Pretty good position for maybe even threatening lethal on Chris's next turn because the Kavu attack plus Tribal Flames, right?
And Chris has an Arena of Glory in play. So depending on just what happens, I don't know. I've seen wilder things. It could be the Flagening.
A bit away from Flage,
Just
probably.
needs these 3 more
It
cards.
just
in the
needs
yard,
3 more cards in the yard. But a hasted Kavu would be
Oh,
certainly
yes.
something.
Or a hasted Scion, right? There's a lot of places to put that haste mana.
All right.
Lands.
That's a lot
Two-
of
two-
lands to
oh,
surveil.
It's 3 types. I'm sorry, because Slickshot died,
Right.
which importantly added a 3rd type for Nick in the yard.
Wait, that's a lot of damage in Nick's hand all of a sudden.
Well, that's the EI. We don't
No,
get
no,
all of these.
Well, no, but I'm saying that like you can put those together in a lot of different ways for a lot of damage.
Mm.
So if you're going probably Bobble Lava Dart because you don't want the mutagenic growth because I think the Lava Dart is just more damage, right?
Hey, Modern Robots, welcome. There's a Leyline of the Guild pack in play there for Chris. You'll see it's just the right of the lands. That makes all lands all land types. It's a part of the synergy overall of the deck, but also making it so that they can tap for any of the colors of Magic the Gathering. So yes, it looks so odd, but it is indeed a beautiful rainbow land just now. Thank you for asking. Magic's a hard and confusing game, and that Leyline's just hanging out down there.
It's pretty funny to see both Bobble. Wow.
Uh-oh.
Wow, okay, that's pretty good.
I love how fast that hit the graveyard, too. Like, prowess is prowessing when the lava dart isn't fully seen before it's already in the
It's already in the graveyard. Oh no.
Hey Nick,
Nick,
you better
you gotta find a way.
Nick, if you don't kill, you're dead. I don't know how to break it to you. But it's exactly 9 in the air next turn for Chris.
Yep.
That Twister
So-
might need to stay home.
Well, so we have Delirium is online, so we have six in play. So Chris would go down to 10. Cast
We know there's the urge in hand.
right, so we know the urge is in hand, so you
Which
can
could allow Swiss Fear to get up to 5/10 on its own. That's 13. Dart out of the yard is 14. If you did it before the urge, it's 15.
but you only have 1 red mana.
But there's 1 milled over. So I
Right.
can sack a mountain for that one.
But you need that for Delirium. Oh no, you don't,
Ooh.
because you have sorcery, creature, land, artifact.
Okay.
So if
I think
you-
Nick's 1 short.
I think you're right. So flashback Lava Dart.
Oh wait, but that puts Chris 215, which that's the 1 point I was missing.
Yeah, so Chris goes to 15. Prowess trigger up to 3. Cast
Well, up but to 4 total power, right?
I'm sorry, yeah, 4 total power. Cast the Urge.
Urge is 5 and a +1 to 6.
6
which is
plus double
12.
strike is 12. Plus 3 is okay, that's lethal. Oh, that Darcy
No.
has to attack also.
Darcy must.
Darcy must attack. He's
There she
getting
goes.
there.
Beep beep.
Okay,
And-
so lethal achieved here.
No, the Swifty's staying home because even though we just did the math out loud, I do think we're 1 short
No,
because we got 12 plus 3.
which is 15. So it's 12 from Swifty plus 3 from the Darcy plus 1 from the Lava Dart upstairs.
This is the hardest part of prowess.
Yeah.
Playing with it and playing against it, you have to do this math problem. You do this math problem 6 times to make sure it works.
Yeah. And we only get to do it because we get to not worry about anything else.
Right. But also, I don't think Nick had anything to worry about. I don't imagine any free spells out of Domain Zoo that could have stopped him there.
Right.
Now, this arena is going to be pushed into a Scion. And if Chris has a 4th land, I believe we also has Tribal Flames, which can go upstairs and then have one of these 2 lethal threats.
Yeah, I think you
Brum, brum.
can also just draw and discard with the Kavu to try to get that other land, right?
Yeah, and I think these both have lifelink.
Oh, they both have life. No. Yes.
Kavu's all colors, making it a white permanent. Yep.
Yep.
Bingo. That's game 1 going to Domain Zoo. Nick, if you're listening back here, we can do the math 3 more times, but I think you might have had it.
Yeah. We think so. We don't know so. No, I think we did because it was. Well, it doesn't matter.
I think we got to exactly 15. And now we're talking about Domain Zoo. This looks like a stock list from the wonderful interwebs. Remember, if we don't ever see the players' names up there at the top, you always know that we're probably pulling a list. We try to pull from Goldfish, top contenders, recent contenders. We try to get lists that are performing well, relatively recent. So cards in the board that we could be looking at, things like Consign, Orm's Chance, Surgicals, Pyrocalasm, Wrath of the Skies, Mystical Dispute, Wear Tear, Ghost Vacuums. Sign me up for any of these Wrath effects, and some people I know are split on things like an Orm's Chant or a Wear Tear. If you brought them in, I wouldn't be shocked, and if you left them on the bench, I wouldn't be confused either. Thoughts, feelings?
Sorry, I was trying to read the text of Spectral Denial because I don't think I've seen that before.
It's Syncopate, but it's discounted for your 4 power or greater creatures.
That's super sick.
So it's kind of tagging in here because in like the mid to late game, it can kind of do the same thing as Stubborn Denial, but also it just has this ability to be Syncopate, where its counter target spell unless the player plays X, but it costs 1 less for each power 4 or greater creature. So things like the Scions, the Kavus, the Brawlers, they can just help discount your counter spell as well.
Pretty sweet. But yeah, I would agree. Pyroclasm, Wrath of the Skies both look pretty good here. Maybe you're even taking out your Tribal Flames. You know, you're like, okay, well, it's my reach, but if you have no permanence, then I'm not that worried.
I was always I'm not a fan of keeping my Ragavan in against a creature with tons of just little guys hanging around, especially leftover monk tokens, whatever it could be. Ragavan's very unlikely to get through in a match like this.
I guess especially on the draw, huh?
Yeah, and I think every time I played a Leyline deck, I just felt a little spicy and always board the 4th one out. Just they're so bad to draw. And this isn't Blue Zoo that we saw for a long time that had like all the pitch cards that really took advantage of the Leyline. If they get stuck in hand, they're almost always stuck in hand in this version. And is it prowess? It is indeed one of the top decks in the modern format, being unlocked by Corey Steelcutter and taking down one of the recent energies in the hands of Grayson Emmets. Cards in sideboard, Consigned to Memory being seen here once again into Floodmaw, Meltdown, Spell Pierce, Surgical Extraction, Unholy Heat, Tormod's Crypt, and Alpine Moons.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Floodmaw, maybe you're interested in trying to interact with that.
And I know Izzet has a big flage problem, so any surgical or surgical style effects might be worthwhile just to only get Lightning Helix to not get fully flaged out of the game.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Chatter, I can confirm for you that there are Amulet players in the house because I handed my Amulet deck to him. So I promise someone's out there.
There's at least Amulet player.
Yeah, I can't guarantee you plurality there, but I can confirm singular for you.
Well, a plurality, right, would be a majority of players. No, that's greater than 50% of players.
Wouldn't that be majority?
Oh, plurality is just when it's the largest segment. Yeah, that's what
I
it
just
is.
meant plurality in the form of more than one.
No.
I've misspoken. Take my degree away.
No, I'm just being I'm just being pedantic.
Well, pedantic also a great word for any English majors out there.
Yeah.
So very importantly, again, we got Chris on the left side, Domain Zoo. Mulligan to 6 last game, but found the leyline that was needed, bottom to leyline, and drew a leyline, and still crushed right on through again. The hardest part about prowess is you have to math, and make sure it works every time. And forget what I said, Chris got 2 leylines.
All right, well, forget Into the Floodmaw. Not bouncing a leyline today.
Right. This is also one of the things that can sometimes be a question when you do play the leyline decks, is if you draw multiples, should you play them both out? So I know that was a part, I referenced it earlier, of like the Blue Zoo deck that had a lot of pitch cards. Sometimes it's worthwhile to hold one in hand to still be able to throw it away to something else. I played like a 5-color Goryo's Vengeance deck that would hold them extra ones for cards like Solitude or Grief. But this is a scenario the Domain Zoo doesn't really have much use for them outside of looting them away. So I might as well toss both out there because of a card like you're saying, Into the Floodmaw and the like.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm sure something wild has happened before of something out of the Is It sideboard that could deal with these. So putting 2 out there makes it a lot safer for Chris. He won't have any mana trouble. His big creatures will be online.
Now this play is a little bit worse against what was the mirrored and bounce spell we were
Oh,
talking
we were
about?
talking about Echoing Truth
Echoing
earlier
Truth, yeah.
today.
Not good against Echoing Truth.
Yeah. And I saw in Chris's hand maybe 1 to 2 Scion. So even though it's
One
a turn
to
1,
two.
well, it's so hard to tell when players shuffle their hand around if it's the same one that I've already seen or not.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Nick, I'm seeing a double cutter hand at minimum. So next turn the fireworks are going to start. But I think this Scion's going to be a huge, huge wall in the way of these monk tokens.
Yeah. So we're definitely going to get a second cutter and probably literally any spell.
Yeah. Cutter cantrip, cutter bauble, whatever it could be. Modern is not a format lacking in 1-drops.
Right. Those beautiful planes.
Everyone loves this plains.
It's got a lightning bolt on it.
You're right.
That's what it is.
I take it back. That's why it's great. So here's the Scion Big 4/4. Remember, because of the Leyline of the Guild pack, it itself is all 5 colors, which means it is granting Vigilance, Hexproof, Lifelink, Trample, and First Strike to itself and any other creatures that show up. So we have a 4/4 first striking lifelink blocker. On top of all the other words I've said, those 2 are hugely important against Corey Steelcutter. So much so that Nick did not play the second cutter out.
Yeah, he's like, well, I want to, I don't know, start to draw something here.
And remember, I did miss. There's a third important one, which is the blue ability, which is hexproof. So into the flood maul or damage-based effects aren't going to be able to touch this Scion. There's that same mountain Nick exiled the first iteration last game.
Yep. Mountain down. We're gonna play Lava Dart targeting Chris's face. That's my prediction.
Yeah, but it's so hard, right? Because Chris has no interest in sending his monk to the slaughter in front of the Scion.
Right, but it's just like he's like, I want my trigger, because especially once Nick is gonna get 2 cutters in play, you kind of have to accept that, like, okay, well, even if I can't block this Scion, and even though it's going to gain 4 life, if I go wide enough, if I make enough monks, give them enough prowess triggers, it doesn't really matter.
You are right. I have seen players push through as much bigger walls than this.
What is Vigilance? That part sucks.
That part does suck.
So you do need a 5/5, but there's the mutagenic growth in Nick's hand, so might be able to lay a little bit of a trap.
Oh, Chris's life total going up the wrong direction if you're a Nick fan. 23 to 12. And a pass back. So this 3 mana, I thought Chris had a Flage in hand, so something more important here.
Yeah, an interaction spell, Leyline Binding maybe, or the Syncopate counterspell.
May I have a question?
That's me.
If a Flage gets cast and it's granted lifelink, are we gaining 6 and dealing 3?
Yes.
Nice, because the damage and the life gain are 2 different things.
Because
it having lifelink.
Because Flage is dealing the damage, yeah.
So cool.
Pretty sick, right?
Pretty sick, right? And that's even better against the prowess deck, right? Gaining 6 life off a single Flage is huge for you.
Nick also going through all the motions to take the monk that was on the steel cutter,
slid it over,
slide and move it to its own pile, and then put a new monk down.
I am in favor of moving the cutter. However, these T-pose monks, they trouble me.
I like the T-pose monks.
I don't know what it is about them.
They got a little bit of like a Chandra's Pyrohelix kind of thing going on.
Yeah, they're definitely doing something there, right? Doorkeeper Thrall.
Doorkeeper
Flashed
Thrall?
in.
I don't. What does that do against?
Creatures and artifacts entering do not cause abilities to trigger. Doorkeeper Thrall.
I don't know what that does against.
Now, Chris may have main decked this because this importantly shuts down Flage escape triggers and stuff. So some players kind of self scam.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, so it's like a to cheat your Flages.
Right, and
that makes sense.
It is a 1/2 first striking flying lifelinker vigilance here.
Well, and it's got all
yeah. Scion helps make the card look better, right?
So here comes Flage.
Let's see if Chris gains the right amount of life.
He doesn't gain anything because the Doorkeeper's.
But he keeps it.
He keeps the Flage. Yeah,
he
so Flage will stick around.
Okay.
That is an awful lot of life gain. You're gonna have to cast a lot of spells today, Nick.
Also, this Flage is a 6/6. Like
it is also just a 6/6.
Yeah, on top of everything else that it's doing.
First strike, lifelink.
Oh,
Trample,
first strike, lifelink, trample,
vigilance,
vigilant,
hexproof.
hexproof.
Third, Corey Steelcutter.
Yeah, I see them getting moved over. Then we're making space for something.
Slick shot show off.
Show off. Okay. Nick, I see you trying, and I appreciate it.
Bobble. Okay.
Bubble. Yeah.
I mean, this. I think you go for it because you're dead, so you may as well try to have the biggest turn you can.
No,
right?
that's not true. So Chris is believing that this doesn't trigger the cutters. It definitely triggers them, because flurry is a cast trigger.
Yeah. It definitely triggers the cutters.
No, yeah. We're gonna let them know. It sure triggers. Gets a cast trigger 9 ETB. Call a judge, call a judge, call a judge, call a judge. This is why I thought the thralls came in.
Yeah.
And if Nick had just played right on through it, wouldn't have said anything. Nick was like, "Oh, you're right." No.
So again, we have a big army here, but Chris is at 29.
And any of those that block gain the life. So
you kind of got to set yourself up for like a total wipeout. Like you have to kill all of Chris's guys.
Oh, this slick shot is on blocking duty, or else he literally dies on the crackback here, because Flage could go upstairs and then there's 5 power flying.
Well, there's Path to Exile.
Oh, straight up.
Yep.
Send that slick shot to the Shadow Realm.
Yeah, and that probably is gonna do it.
I see 5 flying and then 3 from the Flage trigger. I've seen a resurgence of Path to Exile. I've seen it in a couple of different decks, a couple of different archetypes. We clowned on Path for a long time, so people just really need ways to exile stuff right now.
Yeah. And a lot of these greedy decks are not playing that many basics. I guess Prowess is, but
I think Prowess has 3 mountains, so a little greedy, a little not greedy, right?
Probably good against Eldrazi. Oh no, wait, they're playing forests now. They're playing tons of forests. Never mind.
Yeah, it's wild out there. Chris doing the math again. Again, yeah, at 6, based on my math, there's the 5 in the air and the Flage trigger. Nick's like, you can stop figuring it out. I am, in fact, dead here.
I am just dead.
I do always respect that. I always try to think that I am the opponent that would say, I'm just dead here, it's okay. But I do also sometimes just sit there and be like, do they know that I'm dead?
I go back and forth. There are definitely some times where I'm just like, oh, Nick had the Flood Maw.
But couldn't target anything, and there were 2 ley lines. So we saw the immediate payoff for dropping both of them into play. Lovely, Haviva. How's our backup match looking? They just finished, so we don't even have to worry. We don't have to think about it. We don't even have to talk about it. Instead, if you're a fan of playing trading card games, you can do so here at the Nerd Rage Gaming home store. Again, Buffalo Grove, Illinois. Wednesdays that you're seeing right here, right now, that's at 6:30 Modern. Streams also happen on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tuesdays, they stream live Lorcana, and on Thursdays, streaming live Pokemon. And you see tons of events, sometimes going live on weekends as well. When Energy is hosting tournaments, win-a-boxes, whatever it could be, you'll sometimes see those other games pop up as well. On the regular schedule, Thursday nights have EDH and Pokemon. Fridays we'll always refer to as our Boomer Zoomer night of Legacy and Standard Magic, as long as one piece. Saturday into Monday is that Digimon Squeeze. You see 5 p.m. EDH on Monday. And Tuesdays, the One Piece and Lorcana as options. If there are trading card games that appeal to you and you're in the Illinois area, up here, you can stop on by and play tons of different weekly events here at the home store. And if you want to play on the big stage for Nerd Rage Gaming, the Championship Series, June 28th, which I know it's confusing for some. This coming weekend is the Spotlight Series in Indianapolis, and then a month from now will be the NRG event in Indianapolis, which will be Saturday, Final Fantasy Team Sealed. That is 3 people, 1 new set, making 3 decks and playing 3v3 Magic all day. And top 8 even gets to draft it out to figure out who is our very first, I think, Team Sealed champions, at least for years upon years upon years. Yeah, and as Aviva's referring to it, in the Inklin era, as the era where people get to make these wonderful Inklin custom tokens. We've seen tons of the other teams that have won in the past, things like companion tokens, clue tokens, goblin shaman tokens. One can only know, maybe Final Fantasy they'll make a hero token. What a great choice for all your 3 friends being great victorious together. But we see tons of awesome stuff like Dom Harvey's back-to-back weekend. You can see this image here of floating mana of him holding his 2 trophies. Things like Theo making energy tokens. Matt Hoey holding the Norm Bucks on the GOAT. There are tons of things that can happen. These are if you win an Energy Showdown or Energy Champs itself. Players get to make custom tokens and be immortalized forever in the deck boxes and hearts of Magic the Gathering players across the Midwest and beyond. And if you want to give yourself these opportunities, July 19th and 20th, St. Paul, Minnesota, we're talking 10K Modern, 5K Legacy. August 23rd, 24th, Lansing, Michigan, 10K Standard Showdown, and then Team Standard, Modern, and Pauper. September 13th and 14th, Mundelein, Illinois, 10K Modern, 5K TBD. In November 1st and 2nd, Elmhurst, Illinois, 10K Team Showdown, Standard, Modern, Sealed, and 10K Modern. So if you look across these events, a lot of love to formats that are not getting as much love across the board. Things like Legacy, Pauper, Sealed. But Energy wants to make sure there's opportunities for all players to succeed on the big stage, offering a lot of these big events. I've seen they were announcing some of the side events. They're adding some Pioneer side events in. So if that's a format they enjoy but they want to get their fix, make sure you check out all of the side events also happening at some Energies. You can get tons upon tons upon tons of awesome opportunities to prove yourself here on our big screen. You see this beautiful question mark, Showdown winner, this could be you. Showdown winners auto queue for champs. They get tokens made of them on top of all of that sweet, sweet cash. Folks, thank you so much for joining us for round 1 of our NRG Weekly Modern. We will be back as soon as we possibly can for round 2. Do not go anywhere. We will be right back. Bye.
Bye.
The energy at these events is, it's really welcoming. You walk in, people know your name. Hey, how's it going? Long time no see.
Vendors, artists, a big tournament, side events.
The Energy Series events are free to enter. You can just walk through the door, the round starts, it's game time. You know, you're friends, but you're competitors.
The pressure's on basically from round 1. You know you're going to be running into quality players.
They're friendly, but they're fierce.
It's a great circuit. It's a lot of fun to play.
I noticed the Witch King was here this time, which was a little bit scary because I put the 1 ring in my deck. Really had to sort of glance behind my shoulder every time I cast the card to make sure he wasn't about to snatch it, or me.
The vendors here are great. Everyone behind the booth is always really welcoming. They always have a smile on their face.
The events are taking place all over the Midwest. You've got the prize wall now, you've got the command zone. Every single energy is both a RCQ and a qualifier for their championship series at the end of the year, which is, I have to say, hands down, my favorite experience I've ever had playing Magic.
It's really just a great experience.
The NRG series is coming to a Midwest city near you.
everybody, and welcome. It's Nerd Rage Gaming Modern Weekly Round 2. Dom Striker,
Ooh.
May.
That's me. Yep, that's less than 12, Bryce.
On the left side, we got Bryce Jones. If you're local to the area, Bryce is one of the NRG's employees, and that is my Amulet Titan deck. And on the right side, we got Raymond Perkins playing, as was indicated to our squad, a Brewski, and we'll find out along the way.
So I see Ragavan Fatal Push, but what's that card?
And a white card.
I think that might be Lingering Souls.
We're playing Mardu Pyromancer.
Yeah.
Yo, no way.
I also saw a very cool deck at the tail end of last.
Oh yeah, cue it
yeah,
up.
yeah. So let me set the stage. So there was an Narset Days Undoing involved, and you're like, okay, that's pretty good. But then the win condition post Days Undoing was play Kasmina, the one that gives Kasmina's abilities to all your planeswalkers.
Okay.
Her ultimate is -8, search your library for instant or sorcery, cast how many mana cost. Okay.
Okay, cool.
Then they play a Dakon, Stormslayer.
Sure.
Which
Shadow
comes in-
Slayer?
A Shadow Slayer,
Shadow
right.
Slayer.
Shadow Slayer comes into play. Loyalty counter is equal to the number of lands you control, which is 9. So then they, as Kasmina Ultimate through their freshly played Dakon, get Army of the Dead.
Okay, sick. This is post Narset Days.
This is post it Narset Days.
Anyways, if this sounds interesting to you folks, we're gonna try to grab them for round 3 because that sounds super rad. In the meantime, we've got Raymond on the right side here doing an Arid Mesa for a Sacred Foundry and maybe a little Raggy G.
Yeah, probably Ragavan, which sets up a turn to Lingering Souls. If it is, I do think it is Lingering Souls. It definitely
That sure
is.
looks like it.
That's definitely Lingering Souls.
Hey Raymond,
That's
big
so
shout
sick.
out, dude. Oh, and here's Bryce with a green source, but shifting woodland, so it's tapped, so unable to play Blocks Diamond, aka Arboreal
Blocks
Grazer,
Diamond.
to deal with the Ragavan. And there's
Yep.
the Besage,
Besage
the
you
untapped
down.
green source. Oh,
Beside you down. So treasure token coming out. Ooh, that's a big stack of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I love it.
okay, Raymond. I understand who you is now. I did. So this is a.
That's even better. I was like, no, can't use this one. Got to use this treasure box Yu-Gi-Oh card.
A big shout out to random resellers on eBay, but I found like normal playing card size, so not Yu-Gi-Oh's card sized, of cards that look like the cards from the anime. So they have like the really simplified background and then just the art and the the attack and defense on them. That I bought a big pack of those for like $20 to use as tokens because I saw someone for their Drake Hatcher and Standard used all Blue Eyes White Dragons for their Drakes.
That's pretty cool.
So catch me out here. Whoa! That's a swamp.
That's a Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah, Jack Skellington it up on there.
That's pretty cool.
Okay,
so we're
Raymond.
gonna use that, and we're gonna cast with it.
An
Enduring Innocence. Okay, so I was thinking that as Raymond was filtering through the deck that I saw some Enduring Innocences. So
okay, maybe not Pyromancer, maybe Mardu little guys.
Yeah, Mardu little guys. There's definitely an energy package that I spotted. So this is pretty cool. 2/1 with lifelink that is going to draw a bunch of cards.
Cards like Ragavan, Guide of Souls, Lingering Souls, like all these are cards that might just draw Raymond some cards.
And then also has an energy cell to sort of back it up. Ooh.
2 Innocence? Dang, what is this, my standard deck? But this is fueled up.
This is fueled up. I like this deck a lot. This is super cool.
I've seen people trying Enduring Innocence in Boros Energy.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of in that realm. We might be looking at Mardu Energy. We might just be trying out a good 3 in this Enduring.
Yeah.
Use the push over the other, 1-drop removal spells.
Fatal Push stock's very high right now, I feel.
I keep forgetting there's Lingering Souls in this deck. Forget everything I said. Ooh, Mardu Souls? We got Guide of Souls and Lingering Souls.
It's Mardu Souls, yeah, definitely.
Can we get Mardu Souls?
And I think I saw a Not Dead After All. There's a lot going on in this deck. Yeah. I really like it. I really like.
Ooh, I wonder if Raymond's gonna like Not Dead After All Flage or something.
But yeah, that's like double lightning helix.
Double lightning helix.
Yeah.
Plus just like removal insurance as a push takes down the Arboreal Grazer.
Making sure we get him with both, and we get a treasure token, so we can still play our 3-drop.
Yeah, and some life.
And the value Ragavan hit.
I don't know if Raymond's taking that one, but spending the treasure immediately.
Yep. So spend the treasure immediately. Draw.
Oh yeah.
So now.
So here's the thing. Raymond is preparing to beat down and draw cards. Bryce needs to do the Titan thing, or
Yeah.
else he's just going to kind of fiddle out to just some creature beats. This is kind of where Boros Energy gets a lot of its power. It just interacts just a little and beats down. Titan needs to put the pressure on, or they're just going to fold to this Mardu Souls deck.
Yeah, I mean, so has another Urza Saga, so we could be
Ooh.
going in on like mono Urza Saga, so just make a bunch of tokens, make them really big and block.
In the first saga, that's an Amulet of Vigor next turn, and here's a Spelunking and Amulet style effect this turn.
Yep, so we're gonna Splunk in our
Cruel
bounce
Turf.
land, so we can still make a construct, and then pick up Woodland or Mirror Pool.
It's hard because both those are they're tapped, but we have the Spelunking.
Right.
It's so hard. You have to rewire your brain for downsides to be upsides. So we did see the pool get picked up there to the Gruul Turf. And like you said, this now allows for Bryce to make a blocker here through this Urza Saga.
And you can even actually, so you can filter your Grazer, right? So then you'll
Yep.
have an extra red mana, and then you put a Mirror Pool into play, and then you make a Saga. So you're making
Yep.
2 blockers here, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
The sorcery speeding the construct
That's okay.
it's fine.
Because it's going to get removed whenever Raymond decides. And Raymond's tapped out, so it's really no different now or on Raymond's turn. Shout out to Nerd Rage Series 10K Team Champs here in the form of this construct token.
So do you play the Lingering Souls first main phase to draw a bunch of cards?
It's only a draw 2.
Only a draw 2 in an energy deck. I think that's pretty good.
That's probably a good point. That is pretty good. I really just want Raymond to just find.
Oh, it's Welcoming Vampire. It's actually not Lingering Souls. It is.
Oh.
This is like Boros draw guys.
Yeah.
Like
Hey, sound off in chat. This is Mardu for sure. Mardu what? Mardu draws.
Mardu trigger when a power 2 or less enters the battlefield.
Mardu littles. Mardu what?
Yeah. So taking 4. Now here's the question: are you gonna play this Ragavan second main phase to draw another card off your Welcoming Vampire?
Oh, am I Mardu bruh?
Mardu Brew, yeah.
Amar Brew.
And then this is super cool.
Which is go off.
I mean, all these 3-drops that are drawing extra cards.
Fueled by Ragavan being the most powerful Birds of Paradise we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get it, right?
I won a game once where I had a Ragavan and no lands. Because I just made a treasure every turn. And my Ponza opponent blew up all my lands, and I'm just like, okay, they're blown up. My lands are now temporary.
The only modern decks with Welcoming Vampire from 2021, according to MTG Top 8. Okay, chat.
I mean, we can kind of
This-
like piece together. So we know we've seen the enduring innocences.
I imagine
The
Guide
Welcoming
Pride.
Vampire. We saw at least Guide of Souls.
Okay.
In the thumb through, there's the
Oh, it's I think it might be Cultivator Clause this time for old Bryce Jones.
Does he have 3 mana or 3 green? Oh, he's got to do another green bounce land,
Yeah, this is going to come my Amulet.
which is redundant at this point.
But second Amulet is where you begin to pop off. So
Oh, I
still
guess that's
worthwhile
true.
to find Amulet number 1 because 2 through 4 when we go real wild. And this second saga is already geared up to be 1 next turn.
Right.
And Raymond with about 8 power in play and trying to get through these 2 blockers. And the saga powers up the construct a little. The amulet, I'm sorry, powers up the construct just a little, so it can actually kind of block and rumble with the creatures from Raymond's deck. And there's the growth chamber.
So bounce
And
the growth
picking
chamber.
it up, guaranteeing a land for starting the Colossus chain. Yep. One of these Bryce gets to keep untapped. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it looks like he's possibly choosing Mirror Pool to be the one that's available after everything's said and done. Cultivator Colossus.
Cultivator Colossus.
Nice. A blacked out double feature Cultivator Colossus from Innistrad Crimson Vow.
Pretty sweet. So we're gonna put this.
Trigger 1.
We're gonna draw.
Trigger 2. Oh, trigger 3. Ah, geez, trigger 4.
Ah, geez, Rick.
Whoops. Trigger 5. I think there's a Lotus Field in hand for Bryce. And he drew a whiteboard card, which I'll spoil. The only whiteboard card is Summoner's Pact. There's a Urza Saga, or Urza's Cave. There's another Lotus Field. There's a Crumbling Vestige. There's a Forest. Ah, dude, we stopped, but we drew an Amulet of Vigor on the stop. And Bryce found this Urza's Cave. So Urza's Cave in the Summoner's Pack in hand becomes Titan.
Yeah, when my Titan opponent has this many permanents in play, I just assume I'm dead. Like, I don't know. I don't 100% know what's happening, but I see that there's the Echoing Deeps and the Shifting Woodland and the Mirror Pool and a Lotus Field. So there's all of like the weird one-off lands that Amulet plays. They're now all in play.
So technically, the Summoner's Pact in hand can become the Aftermath Analyst, and we can just start looping.
Okay.
Because when the Lotus Field, both these Lotus Fields will go to the yard. That is the required prerequisite to start being able to loop is the 6 mana and the sack from the Lotus Field. And Bryce has an Echoing Deep, which can be a third Lotus Field each time he goes through the loop, allowing him 6 total land sacrifices and 9 plus any of the additional lands worth of mana. So and only 8 total needed for the Shifting Woodland to become Analyst, Crack Analyst. So he'll at a minimum bank 3 if he's using all the Lotus Field technology available.
I'm noticing for the first time that the Dom Harvey mana symbols, you can position
your
dice around to track multiple colors.
So you just need the one.
That's pretty cool.
And I put colorless on his face because there's nowhere else to put it. But you know, the caves or whatever, you're floating colorless all the time.
So we're sacrificing the cave.
Bryce also has Summoner's Pact in hand. He can find Teleria West. And the Valakut's already in play if he goes and finds Dryad and Titan. And then he could haste those. And yeah, there's the Haunted Battlement.
There's the battlements.
Because he could give this Cultivator Colossus haste, which is a huge right now.
And at some point we'll have to start sacrificing lands.
Yeah, to the Lotus Field.
Or maybe we already did, although it was on the tapped ones.
Nope, because there goes that one. So he can respond to everything because the Lotus Field has triggers. He responded by using the cave, found the battlements. Ooh, baby, 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 baby. There's a lot. Everybody, welcome to Titan. It's a little until it's a lot. Hey, Raymond understand. He's waiting. He's understanding.
So when I'm in Raymond's position, I know that I'm dead, but I'm just like, I'll just wait here until you
tell me.
You tell me when it's too much, because I'm like, the EV, right? The EV play is like, well, maybe your Titan opponent doesn't know how to do it.
Yeah. What if he goes for 2 Summoner's Packs but doesn't leave himself 4 green mana?
Right.
Right? Like, things happen. Yeah, Bryce is a returning Titan player. Spending time working at the shop, you don't get to play in a lot of the events. Is returning. He asked me for the Titan deck, so you can return. Here we are. This is the return. This is the Titan deck. And the records you see on screen are wrong. Both these players, I believe, are 1-0. Bryce taking down, I know, Is It Prowess in round 1. And now launching the Summoner's Pact. To the skies.
Summoner's Pact. Just get Escape Chef. Let's get this over with.
We can't Summoner's Pact Escape Chef.
But I'm saying just do it. All right, so we're gonna Titan. We're gonna cast a Titan.
I've heard that's what Summoner's Pact does. Even though nowadays it's finding Ghalta.
It is not finding Ghalta.
Oh, you haven't been paying attention, my sweet.
I'm not in the Amulet Titan
I'm talking
Discord.
about Neobrand's been out here killing people for the past 2 weeks, and Summoner's Pact is it's got 2 decks in the format now.
Interesting.
Both championed by the same person, by the by. Okay. Can we just get confirmation that 4 lands were in fact sacked to the Lotus Field, just to be sure?
I'm sure that they were. Because it would have been the the sagas, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. The
Because
saga's
there's
gone.
saga and there's a basic forest that's gone.
Yes.
Like, and then there's the Hanwar battlements was played and then sacked.
Okay. Because one of the reasons to sack your Urza Saga is to make sure that you have Delirium for your Shifting Woodland. It gives
Right.
you enchantment, which is sometimes a hard type to find. Here comes the Vesuva.
We could have Vesuva.
Success to copy the Hanwar battlements.
I think the Hanwar battlements. Oh no, it is in play. Okay.
And the battlements hasted the Colossus.
right.
And now this is going to haste the Titan. And there's a Crumbling Vestige. Don't yawn. This is Titan math. Hey. Come on.
Again, I mean, I'm just like, it seems like you're almost dead.
Right. Even these are just two monsters with haste now.
Yes, the Cultivator Colossus is huge.
Cultivator Colossus, power and toughness equal to lands in play. That's a few.
A million.
Yeah. And this prime time, current resident 6/6. Bryce doing a big old count of all of the lands in play. Yeah.
Titan Simulator.
Just got to be sure. I will say Titan is definitely one of the decks that is the easiest to practice at home.
You don't say.
I'm not
easier
joking.
Easier than Storm.
About the same, I'd say. Yeah, I would say about the same. Mana.
So we're mirror pooling, making another Titan.
Love that. This is great.
So is this going to be some sort of Titan loop where you have a bunch of as many Titans as you feel like, and so therefore your Cultivator Colossus is enormous?
I mean, he is making this thing big.
So that's copy.
Because grabbed Teleria West Beseiju off that one. Here's the big count. Now. Oh, block the big ones? That makes sense to me.
Has trample, but
Geez, no, the app. Oh, no, the app.
so
Oh, no, again.
so take a bunch.
Yeah. 6 plus the trample difference on the Colossus. 2.
Oh.
1.
So what does winning look like for Raymond here?
Well, there's 3 blockers in the way.
There are 3 blockers in the
And
way.
Bryce next turn does all of this again.
I think you just turn sideways, right?
Right.
You don't.
But also, even if things went horrifically wrong, when Bryce attacks with the Titan, he can get bounce land, pick up the Teleria West. Teleria West for the second pack to get the Dryad of the Elysian Grove and trigger the Valakut he already has in play.
Oh, right.
So there's routes to lethal even kind of not through these creatures.
It looks like our backup feature is
Gone?
finishing before the end of this game.
Was that Belcher's fault? Yeah, that makes sense. But here we have Raymond on Glint Sleeve Siphoner. Yo, I bought this card when Pioneer was a format.
So Glintsy Cider also pretty interesting energy. payout.
Energy. Okay,
right?
this is Mardu Energy. We can
Mardu Energy.
we can let him have the energy moniker.
Mardu Energy parentheses sweet.
yeah. Could you do Mardu Energy parentheses sweet? Oh yeah. Yeah. Perfect. Person in chat asked, "What do you do when your opponent's solitaring?" Says, "Try not to rage out." That's fair, dude. That's fair. And look, after everything that happened, Bryce, in fact, did not win that game just yet. Just like that. That's perfect.
Yep.
Thank you, Aviva. You rule.
So both of the enduring instances die but come back as
Enchantments?
enchantments.
My preferred method is to put them upside down.
Yeah, that makes sense. Or you
'Cause
pull.
people take one out of the sleeve, but I have such a worry about things happening to my cards when they're not deep within their safety protective sleeves.
Well, you should try triple sleeving.
I mean, they're already doubled.
Triple. That's the truth.
I think triple sleeving is nasty. I don't know what it is, but it goes from them looking clean and safe to them looking nasty. I don't know how to explain it. But saw a friend of mine playing triple sleeved standard mono red, and I was like, "Are you okay?"
That's a little excessive. Maybe.
Okay, everyone agrees. Everyone out here agrees. A little excessive on that one. Raymond, this is a guide to souls, so I feel correct with our Nardu energy suite.
Yeah.
As Bryce untapping. Oh, there's the other chunk of lands. May I interest you in paying for a pact?
Bryce, I recommend paying for your pact. It
Crunch?
doesn't. I mean, this doesn't matter. but technically, your pact trigger goes in the stack during the upkeep. We can tell them.
It's hard. I can't tell if some lands went off to the side.
Yeah, tap some not super relevant lands.
I wasn't sure because I saw a chunk of lands go right off screen, so I couldn't tell if that was like these are my packed lands over here.
Oh no, I think those were the sacrifice lands.
They were the sacrifice lands. You are correct.
Sacrifice your creature
Shielded
token.
Edict. Yeah, so token, so that eats one of the prime times. Rumble. Trigger. Twigga. Okay,
Be dead.
and I saw Galvanic Discharge. So
Yeah.
Raymond Perkins indeed playing Mardu Energy Suite.
Yep, sweet Mardu energy.
Because instead of playing Seasoned Pyromancer or Fable, he's playing these value cards in Enduring Innocence and Welcoming Vampire, so that all of the highly impactful 1-drops draw cards.
Ooh, Rakdos Charm. That is a great sideboard card.
Mardu Energy, parentheses, less sweet. This is stock Mardu Energy. So, very importantly, based on what we saw, the deck's been very similar to this, except some of the value 3s. So, think cards like Seasoned Pyromancer, maybe even the Phlages, the Fables, depending on just how deep our player has gone. That's where we saw those impactful value 3-drops that are in play. Enduring Innocence, Welcoming Vampire, and hopefully more cool cards to come. Cards on the board. Things like Containment Priest, Obsidian Charmaw, Obnixilus the Adversary, somebody called David, Thoughtseizes, Wrath of the Skies, Authority of the Consuls, Deafening Silence, Nihil Spellbomb, and Showdown of the Scald.
So I could see the mouse spell bombs. I saw Damping Sphere in the other one.
Yes. Anything that can attack the mana, right? So you're
Right.
looking at Damping Sphere. This list has Obsidian Charmaws, but what I have found is Charmaw is really slow against specifically Titan because they don't have a bunch of colorless sources to discount your Charmaw in the way that like Tron or Eldrazi have a bunch of colorless style producing lands. So I always worry that folks will bring in Charmaw, they won't be fast enough. But one of the joys about this list being Mardu is if there are things like Thoughtseize available, you can really pick apart a Titan hand with a well-timed Thoughtseize.
Yeah, thought seizing after your Ragavan and following it up with a Welcoming Vampire. So you're taking you're putting them down on cards. You're drawing tons of cards. I don't know. I want to see this Mardu energy deck really.
Yeah. And I know I've seen players. You can see in this list here, Dreams of Steel and Oil. So a card that's really good dealing with Flage because you take an artifact or creature from the hand and one from the graveyard, exile both. But that's Primetime and Amulet. So depending on just what you're looking for, might have more ways to snatch those. This is an example list here. The list that Bryce is playing, that instead of 2 copies of Scapeshift has 2 copies of Stock Up. Cards that are possible options on the sideboard, cards like Collector Oof, 6, Green Sun Zenith, Pyroclasm, Dismember, Fire Spout, Force of Vigor, Seal of Removal, Vexing Bauble, and Bajuka Bog. I do know because Bryce's list, he is playing 2 Fire Spouts and 2 Vampire's Vengeance, so to get those Wrath effects, those will be...
Is Vampire's Vengeance an instant?
Yes, but it says non-vampire.
Oh, that's a pretty interesting interaction.
That'll be fun. And 2 copies of Dismember. So if I had to guess right off the jump, probably the 2 Dismembers and the 4 Wraths might be the 6 cards that Bryce is looking to bring on in. And there is a copy of Kabira Crossroads, which is a tapped white source that gains 2 life. So Radiant Fountain enters tapped, good with your Amulet Titan and so forth. That are sometimes worthwhile to bring in aggressive matchups like this because you pick it up and drop it a few times, you're suddenly at 2, 4, 6, 8 card life total higher, and that stuff can add up, especially in aggressive matches like this. Wahoo! And Bryce has 1 Dryad, 1 Valakut as well, as we saw the Valakut in play off that highly impactful Cultivator Colossus.
I saw Raymond cutting the Enduring Innocence.
No!
Or at least trimming.
No! Well,
At least one Enduring Innocence has hit the sideboard.
So here's the deal. When you play against a fast deck, say Prowess, say Titan, say Storm, your value 3-drop does not have time to be a value 3-drop.
No,
right?
you're right.
So we're going to clear this so we can see the lovely faces of our gamers. And now players drawing up, getting these opening 7s. Oh, I forgot. Bryce also has one of my all-time favorite cards in the sideboard, Roxanne, Starfall Savant,
Oh, making some comets.
making meteorites.
Oh, meteors. Sorry. Yes.
But the card is an absolute house against energy because each meteorite deals 2 damage to something. So when you bring her in, you blast a creature, you give it haste, you blast a creature. It's from the days of being really good against Magus of the Moon,
Mm-hmm.
and it has kind of stuck around as a 5-mana Inferno Titan that you can Green Sun Zenith for. All
So-
things that I like.
So I'm happy to see that Raymond only trimmed the Enduring Innocences
We
because
got
there is
one?
still one in the hand
And a Glintsleeve Siphoner.
and a Glintsleeve Siphoner. Glintsleeve Siphoner, maybe if you're unfamiliar, you can spend 2 mana during your upkeep to lose a life, draw a card,
Mm-hmm.
and when it enters or attacks, you get an energy. And
Yeah.
it's Menace.
Yeah, this was a defining part of the energy standard originally, right? The Kaladesh Aether Revolt era. Glintley's Siphoner was a part of gaining value in kind of your Abzan style creature decks because it just kind of did its best little Bob impression of drawing a card every other turn.
I would also, if I was to bet, I would have been like, it could be a vampire. I don't know.
Ooh, is it an Aetherborn or a human?
No. It's a human rogue.
Human rogue.
But it looks like it certainly,
Oh.
could be a vampire.
Okay, so if Raymond gets through this game and sees the Vampire's Vengeance, he should go in and untrim any welcoming vampires and make sure he's got all of those still in.
Yeah, that'd be very funny.
Ooh, Bryce is grabbing a token already. Oh, he's checking out what blood does.
Oh, yeah.
Vampire's Vengeance is instant speed, deal 2 to all non-vampires, make it
Make
a blood.
yeah.
A card that I am going to replace when Final Fantasy comes out,
What's the new one?
Fire Magic.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
is instant speed for a single red, deal 1 to everything.
It's pretty
2
good
in a
against
red,
energy.
deal 3 to everything. And I think like 5 in a red, deal 3 to everything. Yeah. So your 1-mana mode is so good against Ocelot Pride and Friends. And then the 3-mana mode is still this card you're already playing. So I'm interested in beautiful Fire Magic and its modality.
So if Bryce goes for a Wrath here,
Ooh, we got Fire Spouts.
oh, we have Fire Spout. We don't
Little
have
upstairs,
Vampire's Dungeon.
downstairs, get some green mana, some red mana, clear them.
Yep.
Which means I believe he did read Vampire's Vengeance, saw the Welcoming Vampire, and went Fire Spouts first. It is.
Wait a minute.
And is Welcoming Vampire
Welcoming-
a 2/3?
It's 2/2.
So the Fire Spouts importantly deals 3 damage, while
Yep.
the Vampire's Vengeance only deals 2. Or if you look in Bryce's decks, Mysterious Blood Illness. But he has drawn Roxanne,
So it has Roxanne.
and she'll be here next
Should
turn.
be here next turn.
There's that pickup. Looks like Bryce could play Dry to the Elysian Grove if he wanted to right now. Look at her. Also a really sick food chain commander.
Oh yeah.
You literally just meteorite blast your entire opponent's out of.
she's got a chicken in the artwork.
Oh my gosh. So Final Fantasy shout out. She is on Thunder Junction from the plane where Unfinity happens. Because she makes the meteorites, right?
That's really funny.
And she's a performer.
I like it.
She's just cool.
That's a fun bit of lore.
Thank you. And the token she creates, Meteorite, is a real card. It's a 5-mana mana rock that deals 2 damage when it comes into play.
Oh, that's from like M12 or
Yeah,
something. One of the
it's
one of
just
the
called
others.
Meteorite. Yes! Pew, Roxanne!
And then the meteorite also taps for 2, right? While Roxanne is in play. 'Cause
Correct.
It taps for the 1 and then 1 additional because of Roxanne.
Yes. And if you have Amulet of Vigor out, your Meteorites untap themselves. So when you start getting multiple Amulet of Vigor triggers,
Mhm.
you get to make 2, 4, 6 mana off a single Meteorite. Because it is a tapped artifact that deals 2 damage.
That's really funny. Because it's a permanent that.
He sure does.
How about that?
She's so cool. I was talking with some of the Chicagoland Amulet homies, and they're like, "Oh no, we don't play Roxanne. We haven't played it in a while."
Is
And then-
Roxanne about to get exercised?
Ooh, she's a 4/3, so no,
No. Okay.
she can't. I was saying a lot of the local Titan homies don't play Roxanne. Some of them have never even played Roxanne. Weren't around like the era when she was being played. You can't. She toughness 3.
Is it power or toughness on exercise? I thought it was or converted mana cost.
No, I swear it's toughness 4 or greater. Power 4 or
Power.
greater.
That's what I thought.
Excuse me.
So goodbye, Roxanne. You got your one. You got your one. Your
And the
one
meteorite
done.
sticks around. Like, that's just a
You-
mana rock now,
You do get the mana rock.
which will help Bryce cast Primeval Titan next turn.
So 1 mana. What's our 1 drop?
For Raymond,
Attack for 2. Fair
get,
enough.
get him with your vampire. Can we confirm Welcome Vampire is a 2/2? Hugely important. Very funny that Bryce's Wrath in hand right now is Vampire's Vengeance. I think I see a second.
Oh, it
Welcome-
is a 2/3.
So couldn't even take it down if it wanted to.
So I guess that makes sense because the meteorite was pointed at the Enduring Innocence.
Yes. Now Bryce maybe wishes he had that Fire Spouts back, but it took down a Welcoming Vampire. But now is going to have trouble dealing with this one. Right? Can Vampire's Vengeance can only hit non-vampires?
Non-vampires.
This is a huge like flavor word being incredibly impactful in Bryce's game of Magic.
Bryce, I think, drew Primeval Titan for turn.
I know he had a Titan already.
Oh, we already had a Titan.
And this Crumbling Vestige is a untapped source off its ETB trigger.
Right. Each non-vampire creature.
That is so funny. The little things, you know?
The little thing.
Flavor words, and then you play against Mardu Energy Spicy, and they have Welcoming Vampire. Here comes the sun.
Oh, okay. So setting up maybe for a future turn because we want to go get. We want our lands to be huge, basically, and then Titan is going to get so many Valakuts.
Yes, that's the thing, right? Is Bryce is banking on this Dryad surviving through this turn, so that Prime Time can set up for Valakut triggers.
There's also a escape shift in hand.
Hey, that goes pretty well with having your Valakut online.
Right.
Now, importantly, all this is happening without a Spelunking, without an Amulet of Vigor. So these lands won't magically untap for Bryce, right? He's got to do this the classic style. But he
2
is setting
mana.
up for a Scape Shift to get 5 lands next turn, which is 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 damage.
So dash a van.
Ooh. I've recently started realizing in Boros Energy when people use their Arena of Glory, that you can use just the one of it on the Ragavan and give it haste and not need a dash to pick it up.
Now this is funny. So Ragavan on the stack. Beseiju your Enduring Innocence, so you're only going to draw 1 card instead of 2.
Sorry, only one for you.
Yep.
Okay. Raymond's thinking it through. Good.
Fair enough.
Looking good. Oh, yeah. We see chatter from our director, Haviva, about the flavor of Shoot the Sheriff. And I remember when Shoot the Sheriff came out, you had to search through Standard and find all of the cards with those creature types. Very importantly, Nurturing Pixie is a rogue. So if you're trying
of course it is.
if you're trying to shoot the sheriff, be careful out there.
Ragavan's a pirate.
Ragavan's a pirate. Yeah, it's really funny when you start looking at these older formats. Like, who is accidentally an outlaw among the acronym WARMP?
That's why. So also, I just want to sidestep all that. That's why I play Go for the Throat in Dimir.
Of course, you'll never lose a Scion of Draco.
Not one time will I lose to Scion of Draco.
Okay, so Raymond here drew Damping Sphere.
Oh,
okay,
and has a Static Prison.
but
So I think we're gonna Static Prison this blocker. Get in with our team.
huge. And Bryce just spent the Beseiju.
Oh, and Bryce just spent the Beseiju.
Oh no, because the
Ooh.
plan was next turn to Scape Shift and
Just
just
Gate
blast.
shift and- yeah.
Uh-oh. Mardu Energy Spicy putting on a fight back against Amulet Titan.
What is
That's
that?
Vampire's Vengeance.
Oh, that's Vampire's Vengeance.
AKA Mysterious Blood Illness.
Oh,
the
I see, I
Dracula
see.
reskin. You can
He's
see
like-
you can see Renfield really going through it.
Yeah. So we're gonna play 2 mana for Damping Sphere.
Yep. And perfectly played after everything, so not having to worry about
Paying your
the
own tax.
taxing. I never pay my own taxes. Bryce was 6, 7, 8 mana to work with here.
Nope.
Just kidding. 5,
6.
6. Just prime time.
Just play a prime time though.
Hey, 6/6 be 6/6, and you know it's just big.
Yeah, you can still get some value lands.
Oh, he may still be interested in getting Valakut because Static Prison won't be here forever, right? Raymond, I don't know where his energy count is, but it can't be high.
I think there's
Can we
so
ask
there's
him to move his energy count on screen? We can't quite see it. It's probably one of the Yu-Gi-Oh tokens.
so probably there is. Oh, I'm sitting on your thing.
I think it's the green one. I think the treasure chest looking thing is a treasure.
So
So he's 4 energy.
4 energies, because he'll have 2 from the Static Prison and 2 from the Glint Sleeve Siphoner.
Oh, yep. So that's the 4.
So that's where the 4.
So there
comes
is
from.
a good chunk of turns where this Dryad will remain under the prison. Who puts a Dryad into the prison? It's a Dryad. It's a beautiful spirit of nature with its eyes looking at you.
So we're gonna get Mirror Pool and Saga.
Of course, I have the sexy Dryad. Look at him.
From the artist who draws Saga. Fiona Staples.
Nice. And Bryce found an Urza's Saga.
That's why I said it. Yeah,
Okay, nice. Drawn by Titus Lunter.
that's a different one. So
Here's the thing, right? Just
wait,
yeah.
Hold
Go
on.
off. Say it.
Norin the Wary.
Say his name. So this is
That
the
is-
biggest internal synergy is all these draw engines and Norin going away and coming back. Who cares about once per turn triggers? Norin only gets to come back once each turn.
The Time Spiral foil Norin the Wary. That's sick.
Damn. Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good one too.
Now this one that you have is double sided, and the backside Norin's not there. There he is. There's the front side. So this is Norin, and then it flips to the backside, and Norin's gone. It's just the torch. Raymond instead, you say possibly got OG foil going there, which again will trigger off all of the draw engines over and over and over again.
So we're going 3 mana for second Welcoming Vampire, probably, right?
Yeah, before playing the Norin for its mana cost +1, which is you can see that being put off to the side. Bryce looking at the mysterious blood illness in hand again, noticing the second vampires enter the chat.
These 2/2 flyers also presenting kind of a serious threat.
And I think Raymond has a third welcoming vampire in hand.
I think you're right. Yes.
Incredible, because you can see the little moon on the far left card. So here comes Norin.
So Norin the
trigger?
Wary.
Trigger.
No, first one already triggered.
Oh, off the other welcoming vampire.
Yeah, so the first Welcoming Vampire triggered the other one.
Drew Glint Sleeve Siphoner.
Oh, okay. So that's Glint Sleeve Siphoner. I thought earlier that was not dead after all. When I said that not dead after all,
when
was
we
in
were
the
seeing
deck,
all the cool cards. in
I
the
was
deck.
seeing Glint Sleeve Siphoner. Not a card on my radar.
And Norin you saw get exiled there real quick because Raymond attacked.
Right.
So Norin says whenever a spell is cast or a player attacks, that he goes away and he comes back. Bryce here drawing Green Sun Zenith. Recently
that-
unbanned and unlocked card.
So we doesn't quite.
Well, the best targets would be another Primetime, the Dryad, which is gone, or the Roxanne, which is gone.
Oh, is there only one Dryad?
Yes.
Oh, well, never mind then.
It is specifically in the one place where it is inaccessible, which is over in exile.
Oop.
Now, there's no Green Sun for a naturalize effect. Oh, well, we can just attack with Primetime and get Bounce Land Beseiju, blow up the Static Prison, get the Dryad back, and then cast Scape Shift.
Perfect.
All right, Bryce, your turn. Because we need to do 17. We definitely don't have lands to do 17.
So we're doing Green Sun for 3. Is where we're gonna start. That's what I see lining up here.
GSZ for 3. 4 or 5. Just kidding. None.
It's like on Moto where you just tap and untap your lands a bunch.
Yeah, I see some people do that to like pretend they have Fatal Push, which is ridiculous. But I have seen just thinking as people are like are tapping, untapping lands. Crack Mirror Pool.
Oh, make a copy
Target
of
hit.
Titan. Okay.
A good start. Now this can go get Bounce Land Beseiju, blow up, have the Dryad. When we go into combat, find the 2 lands, trigger, and then Scape Shift triggers.
Perfect.
Oh no, because the lands won't be untapped. Because remember, we've played this entire game unaided on Bryce Jones' side. No untapping effect, no shenanigans.
We still have 2 mana for the for the Beseju, and then you get you at least get a 2 valid good triggers.
Mm.
Our battlements, they're both tapped.
And the Echoing Deeps targeted the Beseju on the board?
Probably. So coming in for 6.
Yep, and this is from the other primetime, not the copy of the primetime.
Right, that copy's on blocking duty.
Very importantly, Bryce is at 8, with 6, but really 4 power in play for Raymond. Norin basically unable to be in combat.
So we got
Bounce Land Teleria West.
Bounce Land Teleria West. Pick up the Teleria West. So what's really funny here is like the Rakdos Charm also is a way where if Bryce gets too wide,
Blast. The
just
kill
get
Splinter
blasted.
Twin mode of
Like-
take damage equal number of creatures you control.
so we're gonna draw 2 here.
Because Norin has returned from the attack trigger.
Yep.
This is Raymond's engine. We didn't see this in game 1, but this is the engine. And we know that Raymond kept all 4 Welcoming Vampires. Oh no, Bryce figured it out. Did you just saw after that whole turn, leaned back, said a little expletive to the air. Because, yeah. This is one of the hardest parts. If you look at a deck list for Amulet Titan, it's getting very clean, right? It's just like 4, 4, 4, 3. Then you get to the mana base, and it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, like all over the place, right?
Right.
But the deck list is getting cleaner and cleaner, and it looks like it's getting easier and easier, but that's not the case. This deck is always incredibly difficult. And as much as people like, ha ha, he, the difficulty of this deck is what holds it back.
right.
It is always difficult to play. It is difficult to manage. It is triggers all over the place. And the longer players around, more opponents learn the interactive spots, and it gets harder and harder and harder and harder.
So Bryce going down to 4 here off the double vampire attack.
And the charm will only deal 1 to Bryce.
We'll deal 1 currently, yes.
Okay. Wait, that's the Welcoming Vampire in hand. I think I might have saw a White Orchid Phantom in hand.
So 2 mana,
I think this is Ragavan paying the spear tax.
probably.
Ooh, White Orchid playing the spear tax? No tax. Sorry, no tax.
I think it's probably the, what do you call it? The either the Ragavan or the Guide of Souls.
Oh.
Just playing a random something. Nope. White Orchid Phantom.
I mean, White Orchid sounds pretty good.
So White Orchid, get your haste land.
Hasteland's a great choice. And it's even better with the Echoing Deep in play.
Or we're gonna get the Echoing Deep. Gonna draw 2.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh wait, sorry. I thought it was Raymond tapping out, but he's already been tapped out. Here comes back the Norin gains 2. All right, Bryce, this is the redemption turn.
All right, you have.
Ooh, and this Saga pops.
I feel like even if Bryce just lines up, go get Shadow Spear. Is that a thing you play?
No.
Do you play a 1 of Shadow Spear?
It's just amulets.
Oh, all right.
They already got trample.
Fair enough.
The lifelink part is very important. Sometimes you'll see like some spicy bullets on the sideboard, maybe like a Vexing Bauble, an Expedition map, but Sagas are mainly just the fastest route to Amulet.
That makes sense.
Crunch. Bounce and Beseju.
Well, we forgot to trigger the Saga anyway. Still there at 2. Right, because it was played 2 turns ago.
Oh.
We figured it out.
There it is. There it is. Oops, sorry, Raymond. I think this is
okay.
Because once you remember something's missed, you put it on the stack immediately.
Yeah.
So that's what Bryce is doing, putting on the stack immediately, grabbing the amulet. Now, Bounce Land Beseju, you're off this Titan trigger. There's Bounce Land. Uh-oh. This is the hardest part, the looking through the deck. There it is,
There
Bounce Land
it is.
Beseju. the bounce land is untapped. The Beseiju could float a green. And Bryce could basically use itself to pay for itself using like the forest or whatever to keep the mana from the bounce land.
Well, the bounce land mana is just 1, right? Because of the damping sphere.
Because of the damping sphere.
So all these we have all 4 Gruul Turfs in play, but only taps for 1 mana.
Yep. All right. Still this big old 6/6 coming in, but lethal in play for Raymond. But remember, we believe that Bryce is going to unlock his Dryad and then have access to... Oh, you know what? He's probably going to do Beseiju on the Damping Sphere and then use the remaining mana on Escape Shift.
Right, that would make sense.
We'll have to see what he uses the Beseiju on. Oh, he's got tons of mana. He can use this on the prison. Unlock Dryad, Escape Shift the rest. It's the prison. And here returns the Dryad. Here we go. It's happening.
Yep.
Here we go. It's happening. Where's the Valakut?
Where is the Valakut?
Escape Shift.
In response to Escape Shift,
Float them all.
fatal Push. Show it to me.
I mean, he did just... Oh, he found the swamp and the static prison left play. Nope.
Nope.
Oh,
Alright.
wowzers. Wowzers, Bowsers. That'd been wild if that was true. Valakut in the deck still? There it is.
There it is. And 2 Valakuts for good measure.
Vesuving the Valakut does work, right? It's been a long time since I've done
It
this.
does, yeah.
Phew. And that is so many a trigger. Each of these lands doing 6 damage, 3 for each of the Valakuts. This is the moment to kill this Dryad because it checks upon trigger and resolution.
Yep.
But that is Amulet Titan taking it down 2-0 for Bryce Jones. Bryce realizing this play was available last turn, was not punished and unlocking it for himself this turn. But Raymond Perkins with Mardu Energy Spicy with that sick Norin the Wary engine to draw cards while still having some of the good old Mardu cards. Honestly, this deck was even humans, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of really sick stuff going on there. If you want sick cards, you can buy them at nerdragegaming.com. We're talking you could buy History Benalia, or you could buy its big new brother coming from the Final Fantasy set. You could buy Snapcaster Mage, or you could buy its big brother, Songcrafter Mage, released in Tarkir Dragonstorm. You could buy an Underground Sea, or its little brother, Underground River in Standard. There are tons of options available to you. You could buy Rekindling Phoenix, which is legal in Pioneer, and it's probably the best Phoenix in Pioneer if you had to ask me. Or Wizard's Retort, a card that plays incredible alongside Slick Shot Show Off. There are tons of options available to you at nerdragegaming.com. And if you don't find what you're looking for here, maybe that's because it's foil. Maybe it's because it's a different game. And you can find that at the Nerd Rage Gaming TCG Player Pro Store, nrg.tcgplayerpro.com. Find One Piece cards, Flesh and Blood cards, Pokemon cards, foil cards for Magic the Gathering. This one, Lorcana cards. I imagine you can find so many of those goods at nrg.tcgplayer.com. With that being said, thank you all so much for joining us for round 2 of our Modern event. We're going to go look for the spiciest deck list out there labeled Brew by our crew, and we'll see you again soon for round number 3. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Bye.
Bye.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to round number 3 here at the Nerd Rage Gaming home store for Wednesday night weekly modern. I'm Dom Stryker alongside May.
Whoa, sorry, I was listening to Haviva.
And we have
that's
these
me.
lovely players here. Right side, we got Matt playing Death and Taxes. Okay. Okay.
He says Death and Taxes. It's a Ketchumos Ephemerate deck.
Oh.
Yeah, so
this-
not to get your hopes up.
This is Orzhov Blink.
Yeah,
And
it's
on
Orzhov
the
Blink.
on the left side, Sound Off, May. You and I were just watching them.
So this has Kazmina, Enigmatic Sage,
Oh, okay.
has Dakon, Shadow Slayer.
Sure.
The win con is search my deck for zombie invasion or what the one that makes 13 2/2 zombies, whatever card that is.
The Horde?
Oh, underneath the
Oh,
floorboards. Yeah.
No, that one has Madness. You not Rise of the Dark Realms. The other one. It's the 8 mana make 13 zombies.
Yeah, it's the 8 mana make 13 zombies.
Also playing Narset Days and Doing, Teferi Fun Unraveler, and United Battlefront.
Yep, to go and flip all your walkers into play.
Yo, I'm telling you, we were watching Josh play in time against the domain player that we saw from round number 1. We already knew we want to get this list on, and then May and I were watching again, and we're like, this stuff's cool.
It's so cool.
And I believe Josh's friends, in some way, shape, or form, with Zvi, who we've seen playing in tons of our Wednesday locals, also a brewer, like playing some off-the-wall stuff. And then him and Josh were helping each other earlier when we were out there. So
Army of the Damned.
Army of the Damned, thank you. And I think this might just be a brewers ride together sort of moment that we're gonna see what I dubbed 4-color walkers out of Josh.
I think that makes sense.
I think that
yeah.
feels fair.
So earlier we were kind of like jiving, or like all the players just wrote brew,
They
but
did all right,
they,
brew.
they really did bring a bunch of brews. So
And Bleachbone Verge into Relic Progenitus. This is Orzhov Blink. I can't believe this. Just standard normal Orzhov Blink.
I guess you could. That's kind of like the modern incantation of Death in Texas, but still, I like it better when there's
If you don't
Aether
have
Vials and
if you don't have
Leonin
Thalia or
Arbiters.
Leonin Arbiters, yeah.
yeah. Where is
I can't
Thalia these
stand for
days?
this. In Pioneer Humans.
Yeah, okay.
Legal and standard and unplayed.
Oh,
Oh
she
no,
is.
she rotated.
No, she rotated, right?
Because she was in Innistrad, right?
She was in Innistrad, yeah.
Okay, she rotated. But she wasn't played when she was here.
She
either.
that's true. When she was legal, she also did not play.
Metigus Archive, flipping over Narset Parravales into the Binsky. Josh untapping, giving us a little shush, and passing it back. Relic Progenitus, munching on that Narset. Just getting on the Misty. Godless Shrine, pass the turn back.
So does
Wow.
Matt have a third land?
And I think Matt is trying to set up like Solitude Ephemerate and is going to learn real quick there's no creatures.
This when the what do you call it? When you see the
Kihira?
Kihira, you're like, well, maybe there's not going to be so many things.
Yeah. Oh, it's Dakon Shadow Slayer. Would you like to read this? Well,
That
can we bring up Dakon when we got a moment? This card is sweet. I remember this got spoiled and I was like, that's pretty cool. Enters battlefield number loyalty equal number of land you control. +1, surveil 2. -3, exile target creature. -6, put an artifact from your hand or graveyard onto the battlefield. Yes, you heard that right. This card is a huge piece of Josh's overall engine, and we hope to show it off.
yeah. So this works in concert with Kazmina, the Enigmatic Sage, which is a planeswalker that gives its abilities to all your other planeswalkers.
Ah.
So the Kazmina has a +2 where you scry, has a -8 where you go through your library and find an instant or sorcery, cast it for free.
Oh, and if Dakon comes in with 1,000,000 loyalty,
Exactly. So Dakon will come in with a 1,000,000 loyalty, immediately be able to Kazmina alt
and find the zombie
and-
card
and
called
Army of the Damned.
Army of the Damned.
Not to be confused with the Death Knight talent of the same name,
Of course.
which also makes 13 zombies.
Wow, okay. I mean, 13 is the Spookums number.
It
right?
is the Spookums
Right,
number,
Magic
right.
didn't define that as the spooky number, so
But it is. I do think it is funny that they both make 13 zombies.
13 zombies.
Yeah. So here we
And
go. I think we're going to get United Battlefield.
Time to unite the battlefront. Oh, we're being specific about
No,
the colors of mana.
It's
Dakon.
Dakon. Okay.
The Shadow Slayer.
Coming in with for 4. We're going to
Because it can
exile.
exile a creature.
Yep.
And then because it's down to 3, we're going to get a 3/3 illusion.
Oh, I guess there are some creatures in Josh's deck. I see a Solitude.
Okay. Again,
So-
unlocked by Kihira.
So Matt's Solitudes can target Josh's
Right.
Solitudes.
But when you're an Esper, an Orzhov Blink opponent preparing to Solitude Ephemerate, you're hoping to take down like Guide Pride, not one opposing Solitude, right?
Yeah, a huge Murktide or a Frog or something.
Huge Murktide. Murktide's not a dragon elemental, right?
No, if only.
If only.
Powercraft Murktide, where he's also an elemental.
And a dragon, and it can tap to add a 1/1 counter, and the backside is counterspell, and
And the backside is counterspell is really what puts it over the edge.
oh, that was what did it.
Yeah.
Here's the draw of a Lorien revealed, which we saw Josh do the move that you were talking about when we were watching a game where he used the Casmina and just cast a free Lorien revealed, got to draw 3 out of it, which is a nice little synergy of both your island cycling to set up your mana base and a payoff through your walkers later.
Right.
Pretty cool.
On Matt's side, he's got the dog, probably looking to flash the dog in, end of turn, and then deploy the Catcher Most to try to start drawing some cards.
Yeah, the hard part is not really anything good to blink. No creatures on Matt's own side, and if he blinks these walkers, he's going to reset them for Josh for free.
Right. You can blink the elemental or the spirit.
I think it's non-token.
Oh, it is non-token?
Oh, no. Sorry, Skyclave is non-token.
Here we go. Here comes
Time to unite the battlefront.
Unite the Battlefront.
This card I was very excited when this came out. So to see it not being played in standard, but instead here in modern, interesting. Casting the Felly out beforehand.
Because what if Teferi gets flipped?
Of course, I was thinking the same thing. What if Teferi gets
Oof,
flipped?
That's kind of that's a whiff.
But Utopia Sprawl at least.
Yeah, Utopia Sprawl's not nothing, but
That was a 4-mana ramp.
4 mana ramp.
Yikers. Because I was thinking for the same reason. Oh no, what if they find Teferi? They'll bounce your Felia. But they wouldn't have the Felia to begin with
Right.
if a Teferi was found. So
Attack for 3.
Oh. Can we get them literally anything to be this illusion? We just have a die right now. Part of Fed. Thank you so very much. Ooh.
So
Oh, we drew some of the goods. I am a fan of this black-white deck. The card that I first fell in love with, like Champion of the Parish, like just kind of like white beatdown creatures deck. And then I always loved a good flicker, right? So when this black-white deck became pretty popular, I have tried it, and it is pretty fun.
it does look pretty fun.
Cards like Felia, Flicker Wisp, Ephemerate, like these are all bangers.
They're all bangers. So Flicker Wisp. Oh,
Flicker
clears,
Wisp, the breeding pool, very nice.
which makes the Utopia Sprawl fall off.
Oh yes. Flicker Wisp, yeah, because a part of Flicker Wisp's internal synergy is blinking your face down MDFC creatures to get the creature side back, which then allows you to do the same thing to your opponent. Is you can flicker their lands, their creatures, what have you. So Matt could have killed the token, but instead decides to flop the breeding pool to kill the Utopia Sprawl.
Knowing that I think Josh's deck is pretty mana intensive.
Yeah.
I think he's tapped out almost every turn so far.
Yes. I'm not really calling this a control deck because it truly is tap out, right?
Yeah, you can have a tap out control deck, but
Josh leaned back. Decisions being made, right? Dakon needs to get its plus on, start getting some surveilling, find the good draws. I also noticed we didn't use Dakon last turn. I noticed from watching Josh play out in the field last round, this deck is so much thought intensive and action intensive that making sure you hit all of them is a feat in and of itself.
yeah, there are a lot of activations of multiple planeswalkers that have to be sequenced in various ways.
Yeah.
So anyway, here comes Casmina. So she comes down with 2 loyalty, +2 to Scry.
Okay.
And it grants that ability to all your other planeswalkers.
Very cool.
So now Dakon can choose to Scry or Surveil too, right?
So scrying if you want the cards to remain in your library, and surveil if you like to remove the cards.
So here comes
Ephemerate on the Flicker
Ephemerate,
Wisp.
Flicker Wisp. Yep, get rid of the 3/3.
To remove the token. Alrighty. And Josh
And then
toss the
just-
turn back to Matt. But the thing is
That
this
ephemerate
flicker-
is exiled.
Yep.
No, he
Uh,
figured it out.
Yeah.
So Flicker Wisp is going to go and
Take down the Dakin.
take down the Dakon.
With the Casmina remaining at 4. It's gonna tick up real quick, right? A little
What's
shock from it.
Casmina's middle ability?
There's a middle on this Casmina. What's the moniker after her name?
Sage.
Or Mentor, maybe?
No, Mentor's the mono blue one.
Enigma Sage. Her middle is make a fractal.
Oh, a fractal. Perfect.
Equal to the amount that you minus. That's cool.
And then what happened? Oh, Casmina was prismatic ending.
Prismatic ending due to Matt finding this secret hollowed fountain, which I've seen players playing this Orzhov Blink deck with a blue splash, either for Consigned Memory or sometimes for Consign and Psychic Frog. But we haven't seen Frog yet out of Matt at all.
Yeah, put Frog in the deck. Frog
Well,
and taxes.
Frog and Ketchermost, those are besties.
They are. That was kind of like the initial Ketchermost deck, right? There
Yes.
was the Frog and Ketchermost combo.
Yep, and then people thought you needed Dark Blast, like go hard on the combo, and it turns out Frog just kills them anyways.
Yeah, Frog just kills them anyways.
I don't know if you know this about frogs, but they kill them anyways. Josh here finding Assassin's Creed Island, I believe.
Yep.
No, or MH3? You'll never know as the Dakon Shadow Slayer comes down and immediately exiles, removing the Flicker Wisp.
Yep, Dakon is back.
This card's cool.
Dakon is cool. I agree.
Whoa, Liliana the Last Hope.
This is
Whoa.
This is just Planeswalker battle,
Whoa, everyone slow down. Oh, Liliana the Last Hope's cool with Felia. You could like do its -2 every single turn.
right?
Yeah. Got a whoa from Havivo.
No, I'm trying to find United Battlefront decks.
Oh yeah, good luck.
So which 3-drop do you deploy here? Ketchamos or okay, Ketchamos.
What was my other option?
Liliana.
Great question. Because the Liliana minus doesn't get back anything, so it'd be hoping a prayer.
So I think we just so exile Ketchamos,
Gone. Get out of here.
replay a backup Dakon,
Jeez Louise, Josh.
and then tick Dakon up to 8 or 7. Oh, it gets only +1 to scry.
Orm's Chant Counterspell. The options are Orm's Chant Counterspell. Hey, just a Counterspell.
Yeah, probably.
Matt
just
has a
take-
single card in hand. Like, your Counterspell is going to keep so much tempo with this Dakon in play.
yeah.
What does Dakon actually do besides it exiled, it pluses to surveil, and what's its big ol' mode?
I don't know what Dakon
it finds
is.
an artifact out of the deck or
Yeah,
graveyard.
I don't think Dakon is doing that.
I wonder if there is a single like Portal to Phyrexia or something floating in here for Josh.
Oh, that could be pretty cool.
Just in case. I mean, this is like the second time we've seen Dakon this high of loyalty.
So Liliana is here,
Yep, minus on the Kahira, so it
Minus-
got -2, -1.
so can come in for 1.
He's nice. It can kind of keep parity with the Liliana plus.
Yep.
Oop.
Oof.
Waterbury Grave tapped. A lot of lands for Josh. And this is even after surveilling off the Dakon. And I'm gonna guess with no alt for big artifact there may not be a big artifact.
Yeah, I would think not. So
United Battlefront.
United Battlefront. Oh, definitely that one
Keep
on top.
that on the tippity toppity, please.
Can't Thoughtseize that.
Here's 1 damage to this Liliana. Her and Kihira will kind of stare at each other. And that's that dog?
Yeah, so we got the dog, and I did not see the other card. Oh, Ketchermos.
Ketchamos.
That's pretty good.
And this Ketchamos is online, if not pretty close to online. Time to unite the Battlefront. Yep.
Yep.
Good on
Flash,
you, Matt.
flash in your dog.
Flash your dog. One. There's the Army of the Damned, but that's fine. Let that go by.
Yep.
4, 5, 6, 7.
Oh,
Saved by the bell. Holy
Oh,
cow.
here it comes. So,
This guy's mean. Oh.
so Casmina hits the battlefield, which means Dakon can now ultimate,
Yep. -7 immediately on that Dakon.
or it's -8, but cast Army of the Damned
Skabloom.
from the deck. So
May I-
13 2/2 zombies. They're tapped.
Mayhaps I have 13 zombies. That is so cool. I've never even like heard of this.
No, this is
Can't find anything
This is so sick. Oh, Haviva has been Googling and cannot find anything close. Oh my goodness. And all of this kind of unlocked by United Battlefront,
Yep.
recent card from Tarkir Dragonstorm.
So, and then you still get 2 Planeswalker activations.
Yeah, the other 2 still get to do their thing, which could include Narset finding Days Undoing.
Yeah, or Counterspell to be like, oh, there it is. See?
Sorry, what was that?
So, okay, so not only that,
wait, does Josh have 2 blue up?
Josh has 2 blue up. Matt has no
Ah,
cards in
shoot.
hand. So it's like,
I think whatever Matt does next turn is going to be met with a counterspell.
yeah, I mean, maybe we'll get to draw 1 extra card with Ketramos.
And then
because
the Casmina Scry to the bottom.
Yep, that's
Land from
that's
Matt.
a land.
Uh-oh. This is a minus and a prayer.
Minus and a prayer.
Oh, well, Witch Enchanter.
Yeah, doesn't do anything.
No, you can pick up the Witch Enchanter, but yeah, it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, it doesn't do. You do pick it up.
It
Yeah,
does block a zombie.
you're so dead.
Now, what if the other 12 zombies get through? That's 24?
And I don't think Ketramos is alive.
I think it. I see
think
a big
he's-
pile of exiled cards.
I think there's only 6 exiled cards.
Ooh. But when Felia attacks, 1 more will go into exile, but it'll be too late for Ketchamos.
2 left for
Womp
Ketramos.
womp.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I think you are dead to zombies.
this is so cool. Hey, you know what? Thanks for stopping by, Josh. I really appreciate this. I'm glad we could get on camera. I'm glad we can see it. I'm glad that it's working.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
That's one of the hardest parts. Is not only is it here, but it's
Game
also working.
2.
Pick them up. Pick them up.
And that draw belies how close Josh was to winning that last round. So
Yeah, we saw something very close to this when Josh got that draw. To show the cards of the combo, yes. So the first part is the Casmina Planeswalker, which her static is that she grants her own abilities to other Planeswalkers. And then the important part is Dakon Shadowslayer enters with loyalty equal to the amount of lands that you have. So the longer the game goes on, the more loyalty to play with. If we can reach 8 loyalty on that Dakon, you can activate Casmina's minus ability to find an instant or sorcery and cast it for freezies equal to the amount minused.
yeah,
Which then goes and finds the Army of the Damned.
Army
which
of the
is
Damned.
a card from OG Innistrad that makes 13 tapped 2/2 zombies. So Josh did exactly that, did the 1/2 punch of the Casmina ability on the Dakon, found that Army of the Damned, dropped the big old 13s in play. Matt did not have enough to fight back with. Josh untapped and swings in with them big old zombies.
So we can see Josh's sideboard here, also full of kind of like
Bangers.
generically good cards. So subtleties, force of vigor,
Damping Sphere,
damping
Ashiok,
sphere, Ashiok, and consigned to memory.
and I think an Orm's Chant. I think classic modern sideboard cards, right?
Yep. So a very an unorthodox win condition, but a pretty standard bit of sideboard cards here. So it looks like and endurances.
Josh, do you want any of these?
I think subtleties were brought to the front, and endurances maybe
Oh.
also.
Look how old school it is. We got we about to sleeve on sleeve, baby. I love chat wondering, is there a better card to get for free? Better? Probably. Cooler? No.
No.
Right? That's the hard part. There's that little bit of balance. Like, can you go get Tooth and Nail?
We can't entwine it.
We can't entwine it. Can we go get
Yeah, so like
what? Yeah. Sound off. What are the goods can we help Josh with? What's an I win button that's better than 13 2/2 Zambonis? We have to get instant or sorcery,
yeah,
I believe,
has to
right?
be an instant or sorcery.
That's the hardest part. Is it's not creature availability. It's locked on
Yeah,
big
and,
bigs.
and you can't get like a X spell or something.
Can we get Crush of Tentacles?
Crush of
I
Tentacles.
just like that card.
that's I don't think that's better than the zombies.
It bounced your entire opponent's board, and I got an 8/8.
Magnum Opus.
Opus is good.
Doesn't win the game though.
Not 13 zombies.
I feel like you open up Scryfall, you search instant and sorcery, and
Okay, we're in.
filter highest
Okay.
converted mana cost, right?
If Haviva finds anything, she's gonna put it up on screen for us as we think about it. From Matt's sideboard, Matt's like hoping and praying, right? Looking
Yeah.
for anything that can exile planeswalkers, things like more Skyclave apparitions or things along those lines, or just looking to battle. Try to get your licks in where you can, because I know kind of conventionally the Orzhov deck can be pretty good against like a tap out control deck, but Josh isn't fully controlling the board. He's banking up all these walkers. So I just saw Vindicates as well. Big card that's gonna help. Just deal with what's in play.
I also saw some Wrathless guys get shuffled to the front,
Does not get walkers.
but does get 13 tap zombies. Which
It's 2 mana. No, thank you.
yeah, so that would be incredibly rude to make all your zombies.
Mm.
I think if there's a way to get all your free zombies and then also give them haste. Oh, okay.
Now
that's
this is a
pretty sweet.
9, which I think is more difficult, right? And what if there aren't any no creatures in play?
Well, the
It can be someone that your opponent controls too.
Yeah, yeah. Again, is that better than 13 zombies?
yeah, we don't know.
What about
Oh.
Dragonstorm? Now Dragonstorm's modern legal, right?
It is.
Which you can filter that into because it's got storm. So if you cast
but-
any other creatures,
Yeah, but then you have to go and put.
a dragon.
but
The
you
coolest thing you could possibly do, put a dragon in your deck.
Oh, you could get Tysus.
What? That sounds like a disease. What do you mean get Tysus?
Tysus is a.
Is this a Final Fantasy card?
No. It's from Time Spiral. It's a suspend card that destroys a
Oh.
creature and deals damage equal to its power plus its toughness.
Is that a dragon?
No.
Well, then we
But
can't get that.
there's a dragon in the art. It's a dragon being like disintegrated.
What if I lie to my opponent? Yeah, is there something you can cast that win the game?
Worldfire.
Set the life totals to 1. So then you need another walker that can deal 1 damage. You need a Chandra.
You need a Chandra or Sorin.
Or Sorin. Which do Primal Surge would slap actually. No, you would hit
Too many
Counterspell,
many
United
counterspells,
Battlefront,
yeah.
all that kind of stuff. But that it sounds like a sweet version of this deck.
I think
Army
Army
of
of
the
the Damned
Damned is
might
pretty
actually,
good
might
choice.
actually be the best choice.
I
Yeah.
think we're not the first time that this Scryfall check has happened. Yeah, I wonder because you are trying to click an I win button, right?
Right.
Yes, Chatter's talking about if you draw the card, it creates a problem. I believe that's happened to Josh a couple of times already today. And that's one of the hardest parts, right? Is when you have a common piece that gets stuck in your hand. And I would like to recommend Brain Surge.
Brain Surge, yeah, puts it back into your deck.
I know there's 2 mana red versions that have been played in like creativity style decks that like deal 3, put a card from your hand on the bottom. Like
Oh, the lava eye.
yeah. I kn- that's not the name of the card, but it has the big eye.
No, but the artwork is
It's
is
just a big giant eye.
lava eye. Yeah.
Right. I've seen that in Pioneer Creativity. I think Brain Surge is probably the best way to do it in this deck. And I wonder, you could probably use. Is the Kazmina is an ultimate or is it a -X?
It's
to
a
find
-8.
spell? Okay, dang. If it was a minus, just X, you could have minus that one to get the Brain Surge and then minus the big one to get the spell with a Brain Surge.
Yeah. I mean, so the backup plan also is if you draw it, is making a bunch of huge fractals.
Oh, sorry. This is an important part that we missed. You have to find a card with a color that matches the activated walker. So the Dakon has to do it because he's black. He
Oh.
finds the Army of the Damned.
Okay, I did not.
We just thought it got it big,
Yeah, we just thought it got it big.
but it has to match the color, which
So
is huge.
That's the Dakon. Okay.
And that's why Josh has this entire 4th color is just for the wham bam, thank you ma'am of this combination of using the black planeswalker to find the black spell.
Now, what card is in play for Matt?
White Orchid Phantom. That hit Josh's Godless Shrine and turned into an island.
Ah, okay.
Blast.
I was like,
And I think Matt's going to cast straight up Vindicate next turn.
oh no.
Oh,
That is certainly one way to do it.
Island for Josh. Yeah,
Oh, you
the mana denial plan might go off here.
Yeah, you're definitely counterspelling this.
Um,
Vindicate your island.
so we had Josh winning game 1 here. So this is game number 2 for these fine folks.
Yep.
But it's going to be a real uphill climb for Josh with his mana already hugely under duress and attack from Mad Age.
Counterspell that. Attack for 2.
Yeah, the hard part is the White Orchid battling in.
Also, I want to commend Josh on definitely having the best counterspell art.
Ice Age.
Ice Age.
Ooh, good chuckles.
I think it's because Josh went counterspell, counterspell, counterspell.
Yeah, yeah. Don't worry, the folks at home, we know, we see it's real.
So all that beautiful counterspell work undone.
I love the Black Overlord. And a part that I think goes unappreciated is that I can grab Planeswalkers. So that Liliana was an option, but Matt grabbing Ketramos. And looks like Josh found a fetch land up there in the top. I think it's a
Yep,
Flooded Strand.
Flooded Strand, yep.
I don't yet have the eagle eye of the new arts of the fetch lands.
Yeah. There are a lot of arts in Magic these
Yes.
days.
But our cameras are so good that I can almost read them enough to understand if it's like flooded or windswept, like just enough to be able to check it. And Magic art has gotten so streamlined that like all of the blue-white lands have the same color palette, so you
Yeah.
can spot a flooded strand.
You can usually although conversely sometimes it's like, well, okay, all of these look the same.
Yep. People complain about that a lot in Standard right now, where it's like, oh, this is a Verge. I thought it was a Pain land. Oh, I thought it was my Fast land. Like, that'll happen.
So Josh currently is at 6 after he shocks this in.
Jeez. This Battlefront better be so united.
Yep. United Battlefront, here it comes. Teferi,
Okay, Teferi Sprawl. Teferi
Teferi
Dakon.
Dakon.
Teferi Dakon. And the army gets sent to the bottom.
Yep. So that's exactly where we want
This
the
can
army to
exile the White Orchid. Because Dakon is going to have 4 loyalty, which means it can -3 to exile. And then the Teferi. Josh won game 1.
Josh won game 1.
With 13 2/2 zombies. And Josh has a Solitude in hand, so if he's got white card, he can kind of deal with a lot of what's happening.
I think he has many white cards, in fact.
Ooh.
Including another United Battlefront.
Another Dakon.
And another Dakon. So, yep, exile that.
Yeah, utilize your Planeswalker, right? This replenishable resource. Start there before the 2-for-1ing yourself.
And tick Teferi up, yeah.
Josh hasn't even had to Narset Days or Instant Speed, Supreme Verdict. All of the like natural control elements that are in here has not needed those yet. Just big Battlefront, all the walkers.
So,
Skyclave thinking about eating one of these.
yep, eat the Teferi. Oh, didn't even get to draw a card. Brutal.
Oh no. That's one of the hardest parts about that Teferi. I know people don't like it, but there is always an interesting decision about immediately using it to cash in for a card or not. And, you know, a scenario like this, Josh wished that he did, but many scenarios where you want the plus later, you wish that you didn't. So
Josh, living on the edge here, is fetch shock to 3.
I think it's because the 2 islands are already out. There's just no options.
Oh, yeah, and you just really want to spend the mana.
Yeah. Oh boy. Okay. Oh, and getting mana to hardcast the Solitude in hand.
Right.
Did not plus the Dakon?
You did not plus the Dakon.
Freaking forget about it, dude. Once Dakon does Swords of Plowshare modes, what more do you need?
That's true. He's either finding Army of the Damned or he's swordsing something.
Oh, I'm just looking back through the chat from earlier. I wonder if this deck could play any of the ultimatums as
sure.
a big hit off the Casmina ability. Because the ultimatums also have 3 colors, which gives you a lot of options of which walker can pop to do them.
So,
And there's the one that puts 2 monocolor permanents into play, right? From that Pioneer Lotus used.
yeah, Genesis Ultimatum, I think it
Yeah,
was.
and then just put Omniscience and something else in your hand, in your deck, instead of the Army of the Damned. So it just takes up 3 slots instead of 1.
Easy.
Solved it.
So, play a Solitude, hardcast Solitude.
Yep. One dealt with Ketramos, one dealt with other creatures.
So the other one targeted the Ketramos, but then
But it got ephemerated.
It got ephemerated, yeah.
And now here's the ephemerate. Does not want to use it because Skyclave would have nothing to target.
This is going to be a Solitude battle because now Matt can now also hardcast Solitudes.
That's
So,
okay. It's gonna
Hardcast
be
Solitude, target your Solitude.
no. It's gonna be 1 Solitude versus 1 Solitude. I'm sure Matt won't use his Overlord to Solitude every single turn after this. No way. No way.
No way.
No way. And no need to untap that Solitude. We know what it's doing. Oh, okay. Cracking another fetch. Josh, you crack these fetch lands with such lack of regard for life total. Just
Hey,
crack.
life total's a resource.
Yeah, just crack those things, Josh.
And it's not like the Death and Taxes deck here is providing a very long clock.
That Overlord's a 5/5,
I mean,
and it
surely-
woke up.
Well, Josh has the deck on to deploy and take care of the Overlord.
Oh yeah, because it's -3 to exile anything.
Yep.
It does not care loyalty, power, anything, right?
Exactly.
Okay, Josh. Josh, you're selling me. You're selling me.
So here comes Dakon.
Shadow Slayer.
The shadow of the Belmark to be slayed.
Yeah. Do great Eldritch horror avatars cast a shadow? We'll consider it slain.
And then I think the other card in Josh's hand is Teferi,
Okay.
which is also pretty good here.
Off the Island Temple Garden.
Island Temple Garden does still cast Teferi. You don't really want to bounce any of Matt's stuff, though, huh?
No. Maybe interested in bouncing your own Solitude?
Yeah, I think you could be interested in bouncing your own Solitude.
Oh. Pick up Kira.
Pick up Kihira, sure.
I mean, that'll help you win the Solitude race, but your life total is at itty bitty.
That Windswept Heath is tapped,
Nice.
but is also currently in the land stack.
Okay.
So I'm sure it's moving to the graveyard in a minute, but
Oh, hey. Shot a fencing brick. Yeah, Josh doesn't even have an Oath of Nissa, which could kind of pop off when you miss on your battlefronts
oh yeah, Oath of Nissa is good.
and filter the mana. Then Josh probably wouldn't need to play any black sources, maybe like one.
Celestial Purge.
Intriguing. Oh, yeah, Purge?
The red or black permanent or red only?
Red or black?
So sorry, Dakon.
Haha, you've slain the shadows, but you've been purged.
So
Or something like that.
hard cast yep. So Solitude. Oh wait, that's lethal.
Smush.
That's just 5 damage.
But yeah.
Oh, Nicol Bolas Dragon God.
Would be sick as well. Kazmina's doing a Dragon God impression of giving out these abilities instead of taking them. But Josh is doing some cool stuff.
Yeah.
Because the important is just how big the Dakon can be immediately for Josh.
Right. Exactly.
Folks, this stuff rules.
This is cool. Like Mardu Energy Spicy was sweet, but
Yes.
4-color Walker, like Kazmina beats whatever.
United Battlefront, it's hard in Modern for new cards to break in. And I know I say this with like Corey Steel card and stuff happening, but you think about how many cards are put in each new set. For one to trickle all the way down to Modern takes a lot, right? For a format that's as old as 2004, right? To find cards that have enough power and synergy to trickle all the way down is not easy. So to find some of the United Battlefront to use with all of your walkers is huge.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Josh, can we make this a Saheeli copycat deck?
No, that changes the deck entirely. I mean, it adds a dimension to it, but it loses the essence of Kazmina and Dakon combining to create the Army of the Dead.
Yes, I would use the slots on other uses.
I think you would have to dilute your plan A too much, and maybe that is also a good and fun deck, but it's not this one.
Yeah, I actually have a saved deck list in my account right now that is Boros Energy, but instead of all the value 3 drops and everything, has Saheeli Ryan Feldar Guardian.
Oh, the Through the Breach Emrakul deck.
Oh.
That was a great Blue Moon win condition once upon a time.
Yes, you can play Izzet Eldrazi right now. That is a thing. I've literally seen people throwing spaghetti monsters at their opponents. And off to the races. Josh with the fetch land pass.
Has the subtlety this game.
I think Josh wanted to fetch Utopia Sprawl, but is just kind of had already passed the turn when realizing there was the Sprawl in hand.
Whoops.
We've all been there.
We've all been there.
You're just so excited to play Magic.
This happens all the time on Moto. So
Oh, yeah. At least you didn't skip your turn.
yeah, right.
That part you can't do in paper.
It's pretty hard to skip your whole turn in paper.
Like to have a judge side with you saying, no, I think my opponent skipped their whole turn. I don't know many judges that would agree that that is what happened. Yeah. Again, I gotta echo how cool this deck is. I think it might be Josh's first time with us. We really appreciate it. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being here. Thank you for battling.
Give us the deck.
I think this is super cool. I think it's fun to see somebody's like deck building creativity really pay off. Like this deck is doing some incredibly powerful stuff, and like you know, almost with 30 seconds more on the clock before turn started, would have beat a zoo, beat Eldrazi, is competitive against this blink deck. Like that is a feat. That is a feat in unto itself, right?
Can I interest you in an awful version of Josh's deck?
No, his is sweet.
Mana base,
Uh
only mountains.
huh. Okay.
And then a certain something called Indomitable Creativity. And then, I don't know, filling your deck with no creatures except Archon of Cruelty to go alongside your army of Planeswalkers.
That is sweet.
Hmm.
So dog gonna go to the bottom off this subtlety.
Because you can imagine using United Battlefront and hitting like Teferi Fable.
Teferi Fable, sure.
Sounds pretty good, huh?
Hit Fable. Well, you want to hit creativity.
Well, that's okay.
Checking the
I'll,
text
I'll find
message.
I'll find Rediscover the Way, which will let me look at the top few cards to put
Oh,
the
sure,
creativity
sure.
into hand. Easy peasy. And then because I use Rediscover the Way on turn 3, I'll get Archon on turn 4, and on turn 5, my Archon will have Double Strike from the Rediscover the Way.
So Matt put the dog on the bottom, but also it's kind of like the only threat Matt had.
Yeah.
Just has a bunch of blink spells.
I wonder if he's gonna fire off this Solitude Ephemerate with no target.
Right. That that certainly that does it.
Oh, that's with the 3-for-1 yourself for a creature though. Now's the only chance.
Yep.
And Matt doesn't want to do it.
That's fine.
Time for Narset to find Days Undoing.
Oh boy.
Counterspell, champ. Counterspell it is.
Yep.
Oh, how much mana does Josh have up? Oh,
Blue,
shoot,
blue.
2 blue.
Yep.
This is unbelievable. We do not have mono white LD out there from what I saw, but
Mono white shuffling?
yeah, there's a Field of Ruin mono white deck making the rounds out there right now.
Interesting.
Yeah. And Lion Master, what's going on? Technically, you can blame Steven Dykman just a little bit because someone in Dykman's chat did well with the deck, showed it to Dykman. Dykman played it, and then I believe Enlightened Master won a challenge with it. And because of that, a bunch of streamers played it, and all of them did really, really bad with it. And
Oh.
the only people that can do well with this mono white deck are people who are used to dirtling, aka someone like Steven Dykman.
Very good. So
We have not gotten Josh's deck list. Josh has been busy out there battling every round to the end of the round. We will try to get ASAP. We'll try to drop it in chat, maybe into the descriptions on YouTube, but we do not have it at this moment. But here we see Josh just continue to amass kind of the classic combo of 3 Fairy and Narset. And on the hunt for Days Undoing.
so you can cast that United Battlefront and get Days Undoing off of it, right?
No.
How sick would that be?
It finds permanence.
Oh, it's only permanence?
Your brain broke.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what these new cards do.
Yeah. So Coco gets creatures. United Battlefront gets non-land, non-creature, non-spells. And Collected Conjuring
Collected
gets instant
Conjuring
sorceries
gets instant sorceries.
from
Very-
MH2,
very good,
maybe
very good.
MH1. Yes, it's 2 blue red and it finds instant sorceries off the top. Yeah, so they did it.
So
that was
here comes Dakon
In Casmina.
and Casmina. Oh, maybe it was just Casmina.
Just Casmina. Just
Just
Casmina.
Casmina. Okay.
Oh, be careful there.
Oh,
Okay,
sorry.
so
I
it's
keep
just
messing with your thing.
it's the Casmina itty bitty and seeing an Narset on top, but putting it to the bottom.
So this actually is pretty sweet because you're like, okay, let's go up with Casmina's ability on Narset and then back down with Narset's ability, right?
Yeah, I was say, I thought we were leaving Sprawl on top for a second, but Josh saying that Sprawl to the bottom.
Oh, definitely leaving that one on top.
Who was that?
That was Days Undoing.
It's time. Okay, great.
Because you can even fire that off during Matt's turn.
Correct. You plus your Teferi, and then in Matt's draw step, where he's Teferi locked and has already drawn the card for the turn,
Yep.
you fire it off.
So sick. Or it's also fine to just fire it off like on your turn.
Wouldn't dare. Because if you do it on your turn, it ends your turn, and then you can't do all your other sweet stuff.
So we tick Teferi,
Tick, tick, tick.
tick, tick, take up all my planeswalkers.
Take them all up.
Oh no, we're just gonna do it. I mean, again, I think it's fine to do it on your turn because you're still,
I want my opponent to have 0 cards. Matt's going to have 2 cards.
I suppose.
Because Matt's going to get 1 here and 1 on Matt's turn.
I think anytime's the right time for Days Undoing when you have Narset and
Okay.
Teferi in play.
May interest you in the most right time, which is my opponent having 0 cards.
Perhaps it is. Perhaps it is the most right
Mayhaps.
time. But even still, so
Josh
Matt
is
is going to draw 1
overwhelming.
card.
Overwhelming already for Josh. So.
Yeah, Josh is going to get
Hooey.
ticking up Narset. Does George know this is a thing you can do?
About to find out. Kazmina allows that to happen.
So now Josh is in just like the best spot to start to turn the corner. Like gets to
Mhm.
play a Solitude and just completely beat down.
Really on the hunt for just a single Dakon, and here come all the Zambies.
Or even just like, okay, at this point we can just play a value game. You know, Teferi can tick
Mhm.
down and bounce a million permanents
I think Josh might hardcast this Lorien revealed. Just feel something, you know?
just to feel something. Yeah. Well, let's see what Narset has to say first. Narset finds,
says Narset?
Yep.
Dig through time for dig through time.
So Narset finds Narset.
It's, stock up for stock up, Narset for Narset.
Yep.
Value card find value card. There's nothing Magic players love more. Now, the Teferi just ultimated.
So what is Teferi gonna get?
This is Lorien.
Oh, Lorien revealed. Yeah. So
Because that's the match card colors with Teferi.
this deck is so cool. This deck is so cool.
I think we could add 1 approach to the second sun.
Oh, okay. That's a pretty reasonable. That's an instant or sorcery that'll win you the game.
Because Dakon is white.
Yeah.
So the first time you do that, gains you the 7 life. And I'm not saying in place of, but maybe like a second card.
Sure.
Just in case, right? So that when your Teferi goes big like this, you have something pretty big to find too.
Yeah. So you can go big with Teferi. You can go big with Dakon.
Because if
You can
Josh
just
finds a
naturally-
Dakon now, you could cast it for the second time and just boom, boom.
It also would be pretty cool because you could like cast it and then Dakon it immediately. There's lots of things you can do.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, we're on the same page.
So we're gonna discard a bunch of lands.
I like discarding them into the zone with the other lands. That's a risky move.
Matt, texting on camera is devious. Well, we can read your messages, my guy. And then your Matt's getting Orbs chanted.
Chat's confirming for me. Second time
Oh, you have to
Happy for
cast.
me.
Okay, fair
has
enough.
to be from hand to truly approach the second sun. When you approach the first sun, does not need it for hand. But to approach the second one, boom. boom,
Okay.
it's time.
Oh wait, how many lands do we have in play?
So many.
Land check 8.
8.
Play a land
Wait.
for turn is 9.
Utopia's Sprawl, so 7.
7. Play a land for turn is 8.
May I just do a land per turn?
Yep.
Brain in the Clouds, thank you for watching us stream Modern. We are here every Wednesday at 6:30 Central Time
Yep.
until about 9:30 to 10:30, depending on how aggressive the board is feeling. Some weeks we get out of here real early. Sometimes we have 4-color walkers, and we spend all night together.
Yep. So here we go. Dakon into play. 8 counters immediately ulted
Here comes
via Kazmina.
the Army of the Damned.
Army of the Damned, creating 13 2/2 zombies. They are tapped.
Woo!
Matt does have what do you call it? Does have Wrath of Skies,
That's right.
in-
We know Matt brought him out those guys.
but Josh has Counterspell in hand. So
But Matt doesn't know that yet.
that's true. But we know Josh has this game locked up.
Yes. Again, has used this combo for both of the wins now. Of
Yep.
using Kazmina's ability through Dakon to find Army of the Damned to get 13 zombies.
Yep.
Matt looking at a hand of Skyclave Apparition and Felia and wondering where it went
And
wrong.
making a fractal. Yeah.
How big is the fractal? Huge? 6/6.
Big. It's 6/6 fractal.
This is certainly a way to win with walkers.
So there's a Vindicate. Little late.
And looking at it,
It's like maybe the cards are getting packed up. So it looks like
and that is Josh.
Josh takes it down.
2 games to 1 using the combo both times. So, we watched Josh play deep into time last round, having trouble finding the combo. I think sometimes getting the Army Dam stuck in the hand. But these games, it working out, honestly, really dominating.
Oh yeah,
the
that was.
Orzhov Blink opponent. And our backup is still
There's-
there?
Wait, they're still going?
Yo, what are these guys doing here? Left side, Jack Strepic rocking it on Goblins. And on the right side, Michael Buckley on, looks like straight up Boros energy from what I can see there.
It looks like a Wrathless guy has just cleaned up an awful lot of goblins just as we were switching
No.
over. Oh, and this is a game 3 situation?
Game 3 situation. And here's coming the Bogart Harbinger being cast just now, tutoring a card to the top for Jack.
The Sling Gang.
So those who don't know, this is Jack, aka Goblin Ringleader, is a combo Goblins player. And the beginning of this combo is sometimes cards like Bogart Harbinger, but instead using it here as a value tutor to get Sling Gang Lieutenant to the top. And this is a Patchlick Mons, aka basically Blood Artist for Goblins.
Yep. Which means, so Patchlick Mons plus Sling Gang
That's
is,
going to add up.
that is an awful lot of damage because now all your goblins are shocks.
And Jack, if he has a land in hand, could play the Sling Gang and have enough mana to activate the Patchlick and really start getting those numbers going up.
That's so many goblins because that's.
Buckley? Yeah, go ahead.
I was trying to do.
No, not an arena activation.
Not an arena activation. Not like this.
Jack's at 13, so we're going to need to do a lot here.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, Voice of Victory through the arena is a good chunk of damage. Oh, Buckley with a Goblin Bombardment in hand. Goblin on Goblin Violence.
Yep. So plays the bombardment.
So this means that the tokens made off the Voice can equal some throne damage as well.
You kind of want to just clear out the Patchlick Mons,
Well, I
huh?
say Patchlick's a 2/2, right?
Yeah.
So if either of these get blocked, they'll be thrown at the Patchlick anyway, so Jack is incentivized to block them. I think actually the best play for Jack is double blocking the Voice and forcing Buckley to throw them and not get any damage this combat.
Well, you could let the damage resolve. You can let combat damage resolve
Oh, yeah.
from the warriors and then throw
Sure.
them.
Well, what I'm saying is if Buckley wants to keep his Voice of Victory, he's going to have to trade off
Oh,
in
I,
combat
I
instead
see
of
what you're
dealing the
saying.
damage.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I think that's the, like, if we're playing this chip shot game, that's the best version here. This allows Jack to throw damage.
So 1 damage is marked on Voice of Victory from Patchlick Mons.
Hmm.
And then,
But VOV is a 1/3.
so now,
Yep. This deals the damage to Patchlick, but the Voice has been blocked.
so
And trades these.
the whole board trades.
Okay, awesome.
Yep.
Because Jack's about to rebuild with this Slinging Lieutenant on top, and he has his anti-Boros energy card in hand.
What's that?
Goblin.
Oh, Goblin
Chain
Chain
Whirler.
Whirler. Wait, and a Brotherhood's End?
Yeah.
That's pretty
I-
cool.
Looks like Jack's packing a few more rats than he has in the past. And here's 4 mana. Here's the Sling Gang.
Yep. So Chain Whirler comes down, deals 2 damage.
And Buckley with a single card in hand, the Arena of Glory tapped.
I
I'm
think the
not
single
s-
card is Thraben Charm.
Okay. I was saying no Flage in the art from what I can see. So,
No Flage in the yard, and only 2 cards in the yard anyway.
okay. Jack at 12. Michael Buckley at 9. Down to the wire here in Goblins versus Boros Energy.
So, and Jack has lethal in play?
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Yeah.
Bingo. Okay.
So, and Michael has land, Thraben Charm. So,
Oh,
Thraben Charm does nothing.
Nothing.
A-
'Cause
like, actually nothing.
Actual nothing. No enchantment to destroy, no relevant graveyard to exile, and no creatures in play to double up the deal damage mode. So,
Yep. So, Harbinger, get another Sling Gang.
Yep, this is the value plan. Jack tossing all the goblins on top, putting a Sling Gang up at the top.
So, 6
And-
damage in combat, 3
Ooh.
damage in Sling Gang.
Plays them, throws them, and that's the game being taken down by Jack Strepic, playing combo goblins going 3-0? 3-0? That's our boy on his way to undefeated, taking it down
Wow.
2-1 with combo Rakdos goblins. Whew.
And he had to flash the still had all these.
Yes, the show you that I'm playing this Brotherhood's End.
Yeah.
Which also might be respect to Alex, who you see behind Michael there, our Resident Affinity player. Brotherhood's End might be a little bit his fault too.
Yeah. Played Affinity since
Since Mirrodin
Since
came
Mirrodin,
proper.
probably, yeah. I don't know how long he's actually been playing,
I believe it is since Mirrodin.
but certainly an affinity aficionado.
With that, folks, thank you for checking out. Oh, what's this? Mark your calendars for the Energy 3v3 tournament, Sunday, July 27th. Is this for Pokemon?
It is.
For Pokemon. So if you're a Pokemon gamer, if you play all the games and you're in the Chicagoland area, come out for a 3v3 tournament. You thought these were reserved just for the people playing at Energy Indianapolis? No, there's also a 3v3 happening right here. You just have to know how to play Pokemon. And if you want to play the 3v3 available at the NRG Series 4 Magic the Gathering, we'll be down in Indianapolis for 3-on-3 Final Fantasy Team Sealed. You and two of your closest friends / enemies / acquaintances can team up, battle together to queue for Energy Champs, to win 10K prize pool, and to get a token in the likeness of you and your squad. Come on down to Indianapolis. This could be you. You could look just like those people hanging on the construct token. You could be like a Nikachu mermaid. You could have maybe some of the most delectable ice cream I've ever seen, like just like the May French food token. You can pick whatever works for you.
As long as it's a token of magic.
As long as it's a token of magic, including but not limited to orb. Some people made orb, and it is Fanchan from the last Energy and the token he made. Orb.
Is that real?
It's real. Look it up. It's made by a single card from Alliance. I talked to Fanchan about it during his feature match. He made Orb. So you can quite literally make whatever you want to make. All you gotta do is take down either a series showdown or the entire champs at the end of the year, and one of these tokens could be you. Thank you, folks, so much for joining us. That was our lovely round 3. We're going to scrape up our undefeated players, and we'll be back for round number 4. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Bye.
Bye.
and these are our undefeated players here at the Energy Weekly Home Store Wednesday Night Modern. I'm Dom Striker. That's May.
That's me.
And we have Sultai Ulafrog versus Marty Slowinski on Mono Blue Belcher. So our left side, Sultai, we're talking frogs, we're talking Ulamogs, we're talking Gorios, we're talking Agatha's Soul Cauldron, we're talking throwing big fatties at our opponent, and Marty is classic Mono Blue Belcher.
This is going to be a ships of the night matchup, isn't it?
Kind of, because the thing about Belcher's ability to be a ship of the night is its ship is loaded with 12 counterspell cannons that it launches at its opponent
I see.
and then eventually kills them, right?
Okay.
And this Lotus Bloom is a ticking time bomb that says, turn 4, I can kill you. Can you beat my 2 counterspells on the way there?
Gotcha.
That's the hardest part about this ship passing in the night is
That's
this one's loaded with counterspells.
That is a lot of Verdant Catacombs.
You didn't need those, did you?
I think
Just the one.
Just the one, yeah. You only need one.
And
Oh, I
Lotus
like
of the two.
that. You put the 2 on top of your deck, so you replace the 3 with the 2.
Dang.
That's a cool. That I like that.
But
That's-
now there isn't one on top of the deck.
well, maybe one is coming.
I've seen people also do that for turns of, I think it's Chris, who will on the opponent's deck put a die that says the turn they're going to be. So that when they go to draw a card, they
Oh.
go, I am turn 2. Then when you go draw a card, you go, I am turn 3.
I like that. And there it is. There's the one.
There's the reminder for it to go down to 1. And Z having the Rumble from turn 1, finding the Verdant, now playing it out. And not quite putting anything too fancy together. You know, no big fat monsters rolled over, but instead tons of Verdant Catacombs as we saw.
I think there's a tainted pact or not tainted pact. Oh my gosh, could you
Whoa.
imagine tainted indulgence?
Okay, great. That one makes sense to me. That one makes sense.
I was thinking about CDH. though.
Dang, I would love to cast a Tainted Pact right now. Name You Are Already Dead. Hmm? Not a bad choice on your Tainted Pact. And Marty debating, maybe doesn't have the 3rd land drop?
I mean, all those cards. One of them must be a flip land, right?
You would think so. Yep. Okay. It's this one.
Maybe contemplating the bolt, the
Yeah,
self
because
bolt.
I think that's one of the hardest part is there are some of these that are not untapped, right? There are. I got Baned Veiled on Saturday, which gave all my creatures no power, and I didn't do anything on my Boros Energy turn. And I didn't even know Belcher cast the front of any of these spells. And here's Tameshi, a very important piece to land down for a big mana turn next turn for Marty.
So ditch this Gristlebrand and then look to reanimate it with your
With Goryo's Vengeance.
with Goryo's Vengeance, or just with your Emperor Bones.
And our Ulafrog player gets to crack a fetch land, find Black Source, Fatal Push this Tameshi because Revolt is online, and then untap and do that.
Oof, that's good.
Just kidding. Why?
I mean, you can still turn on Fatal Push on your turn with Scion,
But
and your plan of play and activate your Emperor Bones still only costs 4 mana, so you have access to 5.
okay, sounds good. to
And what if
me.
you put an Ulamog in the bin? You know,
Yeah, what if?
so instead of like drawing a bunch more cards, you could just be like, I'm actually just going to win on the spot here.
I always think about winning on the spot.
So I think there's a lot of play either way. Killing the Tameshi has got to be top of mind though.
Yeah, I thought it felt important
There's
be-
plenty of ways to do it this turn.
because it allows the Lotus to make 3 mana and then use 1 of that on each of these lands. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mana for Marty to work with if I'm doing my Tameshi Belcher math right. Which I'm not. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 because 1 needs to be spent to start the loop.
Right.
And Marty will draw a card along the way. And then if he replays one of these MDFCs, that can then 2 more mana, plus a possible shock of that mana, plus the mana that's actually in play itself. So there's a lot of mana that if Marty wants, he can have access to it.
Ooh, Agatha's Soul Cauldron is a pretty spicy answer to trying to recur a Lotus Bloom.
Yeah, or it could let this Eldrazi Scion become an Emperor Bones.
Also sick. So what are we gonna do?
Or become a Grizzlebrand.
Or become a Bristlebrand.
Sorry, I had something stuck in my throat. I didn't quite get there.
So we're gonna draw 7.
Neo form who? 1, 2. That was an Ulamog.
That's an Ulamog.
That was a Ulamog. Okay. Okay. Now what? Boy, do I really wish we had pushed on end step. Because we're really strapped on mana this turn. Even though, it's a big Grizzlebrand draw, not a lot of mana actual stuff to work with. Is this an end step discard?
Yeah, I think we're just going to discard here.
Okay.
Setting up for next turn.
But I have thoughts about next turn.
Yeah, maybe the Tameshi is going to get pushed during the upkeep.
But now the blue player has access to all their counter magic. Color me scared. And here we go. Well, there's a sacrifice. Here's the push.
Target Tameshi.
Good choice. Good choice.
Oh, and I think one of the other cards is what do you call it? Oh my god. The Channel Land. So you also get to
Channel
get
Beseiju.
Beseiju. So you also get to Beseiju the Lotus Bloom.
I would recommend doing that in the upkeep.
We're still in the upkeep.
Yeah. Because Tameshi can only be activated as a sorcery.
Right.
And that would allow Marty to not really be able to do anything with the lands outside of maybe like a Sink in a Stupor or something.
Right. So Tameshi is dead. So still during the upkeep with that floating mana, Beseiju your Lotus Bloom. Love it. Ooh, because Marty has backup Tameshi.
Oh, Marty has backup Tameshi. I mean, that would make sense.
Yeah, I mean, but
not fighting over the first one, right?
right.
And Tameshi is a distraction anyways.
Yep.
To some extent.
So we're gonna
use the bloom mana to filter a Whir for 0 to put a bloom out.
Yep.
So if Marty has access to a land, Marty can still boom, bang, belch.
Crazy.
Just needs to find
what a deck.
4th land belcher.
So here we go. Drawing
Oh.
for turn.
Okay, that was a rub on the table. Do you think that was for belcher or for mana source?
Well, we have Seagate Restoration, so we have the Mana Source.
Okay, or shocking for mana source.
So we're gonna go to 11.
Here's Tameshi.
Bolting. Tameshi in play.
Tameshi in play. So the way this works is the Lotus is cracked for 3 white, which can allow Marty to use the white activated ability of Tameshi 3 times. Picking up the lands that are in play, becoming spells in hand, and then generating blue mana each time it comes back to Tameshi's ability. Great. Oh, yeah,
Thunder Trap Trainer.
So what Marty can do is generate all of this mana, and if Marty can get to 9, could be Thunder Trap, look through the top 4. If Marty finds Belcher, that's 4 plus 3 Belch.
Right.
So plan unlocked. The hard part is the further down the line Marty goes, the less lands he has in play. So the important part is where stop. And importantly, again, all of these spells that were lands are re-becoming spells in Marty's hands, but Marty does not have lands now. Okay. Okay.
So we picked up our whole hand. Are you gonna cast Seagate Restoration?
Or is Marty gonna offspring Thunder Trap Trainer? Because there's 9, that'd be 6. Would have 4. He could put the Belcher into play and a land, and then use the land to Tameshi loop the bloom one last time.
He's already played a land for turn.
Okay, but there's an uncracked Lotus. So that's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 6 for the Thunder Trap, which would leave him with 6, not 7 for Play Blast. So it might be Seagate.
Right. Well, certainly picked up all his lands. So
Yeah, I've seen this happen, and I always wonder what happens now. So I think it's prey on this Thunder Trap.
Thunder Trap Trainer. Yep.
Oh, wow. There it is.
Better lucky than good.
You better look at it go.
Yep.
Oh, how much mana do you have floating, Marty? 7? Ah, shucks.
Shucks.
And yeah, here's Flare to sacrifice my creature.
And then hand the deck to Svi to just look at the whole deck. It's
Oh.
all here.
I could see the effort. I could see the churn happening. The important part was that the Belcher needed to be in the top 4. Couldn't Seagate to look. Couldn't kick the Offspring to look. Had to be exactly in the top 4. Turns out it was literally the top 1.
Literally the top one.
Game 1 going to Marty on mono. Blue Belcher. We're going to take a little look-ski poo at the sideboards. This is pretty stock Belcher. Marty told us where he found it, which was from Terabat, aka Carl Serap, I believe. The important part has been the update in the sideboard of the card Snapback.
I love to see Snapback here. That is a super cool card from Time Spiral. That is Force of Will unsummon. So what I mean by that
pitch a
is
blue card,
pitch a
unsummon.
blue card, unsummon something.
Yes,
that is
and
super cool.
The backbone of the Belcher deck is this pitch ability, right? Of when every single card in your deck is blue, you can utilize these cards that require you to ask and pitch blue spells. So cards on the board. Cerulean Drake, Harbinger of the Seas, Tezzeret the Seeker, Consigned to Memory, Flusterstorm, Into the Floodmaw, Snap Back to Reality, Force Negation, Stock Up, Tormouth Crypt, and Mountain.
When do you board the mountain in?
Against Beseju style effects.
I see.
Because bringing in the mountain means you have something to find, but if you activate the Belcher and hit your mountain, it at least doubles the count.
Gotcha.
So it's the most worthwhile basic to have access to. So if you're getting Beseju'd, White Orchid Phantomed, Cleansing Wildfired, any of these LD that replace themselves, Ghost Quartered, now thanks to the new mono white deck that's going around, it's Ghost Quartering people. I've seen the Eldrazi deck have a Ghost Quarter out of the board to find with Sowing Myco Spawn. So Mountain is the best shot because if you need a land, you can find a land, but if you flip it, you get to double off the Belcher.
Got it.
No idea what to bring in. If you got Graveyard Hate, I'd recommend that. And this is the exact deck list from our player down in the field. This is the Sultai Ulafrog, Consigned to Memory, Spell Pierce, Stern Scolding, Thoughtseize, Force of Vigor, and Torpor Orb. Sign me up for Consigned to Memory, Spell Pierce, and Thoughtseizes. Thoughts?
That sounds good.
Consigned to Memory goes hard
Yes,
against Belcher.
definitely pretty good against Belcher.
Because their big strategy is, I'm going to go for Belcher, and if you try to stop me, I have a counterspell. When you go to Consigned Memory, replicate it for each mana source that I have. Are they going to have enough to get through all of your replicated copies to push through their Belcher? I think not.
Probably not.
And Thoughtseize, this is, at its base, a combo control deck, so it helps to kind of rip the hand apart. Do not be tempted to bring in your Force of Vigors. You will not have the time to remove the Belcher before it just pops on you. You won't be able to. I know it looks like their deck is built around Artifact, but if they play it, they're going to pop it. If there's a naked one out there, they are desperate already. And Spell Pierce, kind of for the same reason, helps you just kind of fight on their axes. And we can find, some loose gooses throughout this deck list to kind of find those little bit of shapes for yourself.
Yeah, we probably don't need the Fatal Pushes. I mean,
we use them to their best availability that game.
on game 1, but now you can just get rid of them.
Just get rid of them.
And then maybe you trim on some of the other stuff.
Yeah, like if at minimum you trim the 3 pushes for 3 consigns, I'm feeling all right. And any other shave after that for any of the other counter magic sounds a-okay. Okay, this start so far has been Frog,
Oh, wow.
was Frog, Grizzlebrand, Goryo's Grizzlebrand. Those were the first 4 cards out of this hand. Followed by, I think, just straight up no-landers. And on the right side for Marty, taking a look, it's always hard to look at the Belcher opening hands because nothing looks like a land.
Nothing looks like a land. Right. You're just like, okay, yeah, that's a bunch of blue cards.
And you make it harder if you play with all the checklist cards because then you forget what card
Oh,
does
yeah.
what thing. Some people do play with the land side forward, which is fine depending on which judge you ask.
It's fine.
It's fine, right?
It's fine.
I do think if I played Belcher that it would probably just be spells forward, but I'm not going to flip them when I put them into play.
I like what Marty was doing where he just like
Pulled them out a little, yeah.
pulled them out a little, plays them upside down.
Just a little peek.
Right. Yeah.
And quick mulligan, because again, we were talking about what a loaded hand that Sultai hand was, but I guess you need lands to play Magic.
You do need some lands to play Magic. We got Thoughtseize now. Double Gorios.
See a Malevolent Rumble,
Grizzlebrand.
Island.
Things look good. Oh, okay. I was like, leading on Swamp and didn't play Thoughtseize.
Yeah.
That's because that's an island.
Yeah. Thanks, Innistrad.
Thanks, Innistrad. I do really like the
Ding.
Innistrad black and white swamp with like the like church in the background.
I
It's
also
like
like the church one,
that one's a super cool one.
and I like the plains with all the stars in the sky.
That's a good one too. Or the mountain, which is like a cliffside with a bunch of
Oh, you
birds
can
on
tell it's a mountain. Yeah. Milling over Moltender, Ulamog, Agatha Soul Cauldron, Spell Pierce,
it. So putting Ulamog into the graveyard, that's where you want him to
and
be.
taking the Cauldron with an Eldrazi spawn, prepared to be a part of the soup. The carrier of the soup,
Really-
I guess.
Yeah, really needs to be a black source pretty soon though. Malevolent Rumble is also not a permanent.
Get that Rumble out of here.
I'm sure he'll be moving to the graveyard soon enough.
Thundertrap Trainer brought in the Tezzeret the Seeker. I have no idea when one is supposed to bring in the Tezzeret the Seeker, but it has been brought in.
If you like looking at it.
I do. I mean, I do like looking. Look at that one. It's a good. one.
That's a good one, yeah.
That's
The Metal Gear Solid one.
Yeah, that's from Secret Lair artist people like. I don't know who the artist is, but they all look really cool like that.
The he did the art for Metal Gear Solid. That's all I know. I don't know his name.
I see. Because like the Solemn Simulacrum and all those look really sick too.
Yeah.
Here's the Tezzerator.
Hey, there's Black Manosaurus.
Whoa. Who could it be? The Seeker.
Tezzeret the Seeker.
5 mana. We got the beautiful Secret Lair one in Marty's hand. Importantly, it enters with loyalty. You minus pop your Belcher into play or your Lotus into play with the minus X ability. So because Tezzeret enters with 4 loyalty, -4 gets you Belcher, -0 gets you Lotus. Of course.
Yoji Shinkawa.
Of course, it's Yoji. I don't know anything about artists. I am very uncultured in that I literally do just have the one hobby, and I just know stuff about this. I have not seen things or understood book or media. I just know Magic cards.
You didn't see the new episode of G-Quacks yesterday?
Nope. Sorry, what?
G-Quacks.
My bad. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't actually know that it was on. That it was posted.
On. Yeah, it aired.
Released.
Release, that's a good one, yeah.
Set out upon the world. That it was premiered.
Premiered, yeah.
Premiered's pretty good.
Episode 8.
Wow, the episode 8. Huh.
So
Here's the Cauldron.
Here's
I
the
wonder what it'll
Cauldron.
eat. Do you think it'll be Grizzlebrand?
Grizzlebrand is not in the graveyard yet. So it'll
it's
be not yet.
Ulamog. Oh, you're talking about Goryo sneaking the Ulamog.
Yeah. I
That's
thought
why you wanted the black source. I'm with
Yeah.
you now.
I thought that there was a Goryo's, and there so it wasn't Goryo's, it was Emperor Bones.
Oh, the Goryos was last hand, last game.
Right.
The 7.
So here comes
Bony Boy. Bony Boy. Now, it's important to put the Ulamog under it.
Yep.
So that when Ulamog comes into play, it was last in exile and will, I believe, see itself and give it itself a massive pump.
Yep, and this is the way you sort of like cheat it, right? Because you're
In activating Cauldron puts a counter on it, and all that Emperor Bones cares about is when a counter is placed on it. Sneak.
exactly.
So here it is. The Ulamog is either in exile or in play. Therefore, it saw that itself in exile. Same thing happened to few Indomitable Creativity this Ulamog out. It saw itself in exile because it's either in exile or in play. When it's in play, something was in exile.
Yep. So it gets all of its counters. It attacks.
And it hits for 17 with Annihilator 10?
Yes. So that's enough to get a scoop it to scoop
Yes.
it up.
Can we look at the Sultai Frog sideboard? That's right. We're talking about the consigns, the spell pierce. We saw the pierces and we saw the seizes. So we're along the same lines. And then take a little look-see at the Belcher list. I know we went through the cards in the sideboard, but we didn't talk about which ones might be helpful here.
We did see the Harbinger, which
Okay, great.
probably
Makes
is gonna be pretty good here.
As well as the Tormod's Crypt. If that's floating around, I can imagine if Marty was able to get the Tezzeret down, may have zeroed for Crypt just to keep themselves safe.
Or setting up a situation where they can whir for 0, get crypt.
Ooh, I bet the Into the Floodmaw also came in, probably for the Cauldron. because the cauldron's not there, the abilities aren't granted, blah 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 blah.
Or just bouncing a random. Oh,
the
you
Ulamog.
not huge Ulamog. Well, put that back in your hand.
And put that thing back where it came from, or so help me.
You can't have a fish. Actually, if it's Ulamog,
If
you
it's
don't-
Ulamog, you can't even have a fish. I made that mistake when I was helping with coverage for the last energy. Like, oh, you bounced the thing, here's a fish. And they're like, no, I bounced a creature. I was like, yeah, but when you bounce the thing, they get a fish.
Nope,
And I
not
was like-
always.
I was like, oh, I look like such a dunkus. um,
A dungus.
so we're thinking Harbingers. We know that we saw the Tezzeret. And I think the Flood Maw and the Tormod's Crypt. And, it's like, oh, maybe we want to bring in a stock up. No, you don't have that kind of time. We just we just saw that sneak happen.
Yep.
We're back. Down to the match. The action begins. Marty on a mulligan to 6 already.
Yeah, it turns out attacking for 17, Annihilator 10 on turn 3.
Turns
It's
out.
good,
It
actually.
turns out, huh?
So both players go into 6.
What happened to you?
In Pioneer, I got attacked with a Ulamog on turn 3.
I'm so
In
sorry.
Pioneer?
Yeah, they can Tybalt's Trickery a Shadowborn Apostle.
Sorry, you just said the words Tybalt, Trickery, a Shadowborn Apostle?
Yeah. And then
Because it has to be a higher CMC, right?
No, it just has to have a different name.
Oh, and it's only a that's an arena deck if I've ever heard one. Tybalt's Trickery still doing nasty things to nasty people.
That's messed up, yeah.
It's so funny.
No, it's not.
Here, the thing about Arena is a great place to play silly decks, but I don't have the wild cards to ever afford to do silly things to people.
That's why you have rich friends that buy.
Well, not all of us have rich friends. Someone's already using the account.
You gotta get in that group chat, bro.
And looks like this Sultai deck quickly going down to 5. Did not like that 6. And Marty resting back on this 6. Important game. This is for the undefeated player at locals. This is the stakes.
You get it. You get the trophy for this one.
Yeah.
You trophy a league, basically.
Well, they still have one more match.
Well,
to
not
play
a
for the
not a
league.
literal trophy. Just like you get
For
the
the
trophy
league.
like for the league.
Oh.
Yeah.
And by league, we do mean an MTGO league.
Right. An MTGO league.
No, Arena
Ooh,
An arena
does
league.
Arena have
Yeah.
leagues? Do they
They
call
have
them,
leagues.
they call them like challengers or something, right?
Events.
An
Oh,
event.
hold on. I'll figure it
It's the classic like you win X before you lose X thing, right?
Right.
Yeah. So people are always like, I 7-2'd with Shadowborn Apostle Trickery. Yeah. Oh, people in chat asking if we got the Walker's deck list yet. Not yet, but we're hoping to list it in the NRG Discord if you want to hop in there.
Yeah. So he wasn't on the Discord, but he joined the Discord and is gonna post it later.
Huge.
He's just playing his match.
He's
right now.
playing right now.
But I would expect to see it tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah, because he's 2-0-1.
201,
so
yeah.
out there battling for a good record.
301 with your Planeswalker Brew would be
Awesome.
awesome. That's a huge
For a
accomplishment.
player who I don't know if they've played here before, but I hope they come back 'cause that was awesome. And off for the races now. Marty turn 2, Thunder, Trap, Trainer. Oof, love that Tameshi art.
Get a whir? Get a suppression ray?
Suppression? Now, suppression rate is important if Marty ever needs access to White Source for activating kind of like a naked Tameshi that doesn't have the bloom yet.
Mm-hmm. Or casting Razorfield Grass?
Yes, if Marty's got that one of as well. Which I do think is nice. It's an MDFC that can actually be a removal spell, which a lot of these blue ones do lack, but they want access to at least a fair number of the white MDFCs, specifically because of Tameshi and her ability.
So Svi Fetch Shock, play Frog, it looks like. And there is a Gristlebrand in the bin. Another Gristlebrand in hand.
Interesting places for Grizzlebrands to be.
Oh, so that Gristlebrand must have been that was a
Surveil?
surveilled.
Natty Surveil?
That feels pretty good.
Turn-
Oh, never mind.
turn
We
2
have
Goryo
Gorios.
the Grizzlebrand?
So turn 1, I get my surveil, hit the Gristlebrand.
We just heard Marty from out there. Yep.
Yep.
Like, what do you want me to do about this? Don't change my life, so I'm drawing 7. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That's what I'm talking about. I saw another Grizzlebrand drawn to do this again next turn.
Yes, the scholars do call it Entomb when you crack your fetch land and put it.
Oh, as a scholar myself who plays Gorios in Modern and Omniscience in Standard, I'm out here trying to cast Entombs, all right? And at the the Energy Legacy event in St. Paul in weeks' time, you bet I'm gonna be casting actual factual Entomb. All right, I'm doing it, and I'm gonna find Sire of Insanity, and I'm gonna put it into play, and I'm gonna look my opponent in their eyes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
do the finger guns. So wasn't satisfied with 7 cards. Wanted 7 more.
Hey, that's the way to do it.
Yep.
You're not here to Grizzlebrand to not do it, and especially because your Belcher opponent is going to 1,000 you or 0 you, right? Like
That's true.
this Thundertrap trainer is not going all the way.
Yeah, the Thundertrap trainer is not going on.
Now, mind you, I have seen a Belcher player with like 2 Thundertraps and a Tameshi, like attacking for 4. Okay, cool. This one Thundertrap's not doing it though.
Right.
Finding this is always a Magic player conversation. When your hand is overloaded, do you face down on the table put the cards you want to keep or the ones you've decided to discard? Because there are 2 types of players.
I don't know that I have consistently done it one way or the other.
Nice.
Usually, I would say I probably tend toward putting the cards I want to keep aside, and so like in my hand is like the junk, and then I'm just like, okay, my good cards are down here, and then
Or
I put all
like
my
I
junk.
2-handed. You know, it's like this hand is the ones I want, these ones are I don't want. Then you can do the most fluid of just drop one hand and they all go into the graveyard. Oh yeah.
Right.
Alrighty, the turn has been passed back.
Thundertrap got in for 1.
Beats by Thundertrap. 9, 7 life totals. Do you think that Grizzlebrand's gonna come soaring through the sky one more time? Thoughtseize first.
Yeah, thoughts you
Don't-
see if the coast is clear,
Don't
right?
mind if I do. Time to clear the coast.
Thoughtseize.
May I take a look? Marty, may I see?
Is at least a disrupting shoal.
So the question is, but cashing in the shoal on this Thoughtseize, then let the Thoughtseizes take the shoal.
Right.
Oh, but Marty might be hard casting it, like actually paying X equals 1 on the shoal.
Right. Exactly. And then having a backup shoal for the next one.
For Goryeo. Because I believe there's a trainer in hand, so a 2-drop available to pitch to the shoal.
Yeah, it's like, do you counter the Thoughtseize and hope that that scares him off?
That's an important question. 2 different types of players, right? Those that it does scare off and those that it don't. And you got to find out what type of opponent you're playing against. The hard part is you find out on this pivotal turn, in this pivotal moment where you take lethal if you choose wrong. Sounds pretty good to me.
That sounds pretty good. I mean, 10 o'clock on Wednesday night, you probably just go for it either way. You're just like, yeah.
This is the finals, okay?
Yeah, I mean, this is probably, this is the last turn of the last. Certainly, this could be the last turn of the night, right?
And I think Marty is very aware of that. You can see the struggle. You can see the thoughts. I think the hard part is he mustn't have a way to fight back against 2 things.
Svi can't see the thoughts yet.
Let him see the thoughts.
Yeah, just let him see the thoughts. Let him seize them even.
Let him seize them.
I seize them thoughts.
I freaking seize them. Let me in. Huge moment. Loving this. Oh yeah, take a look again. Grizzlebrand's still there.
Grizzlebrand's still there.
Just checked. Still there. This is awesome. Oh, I think we just reached the we reached the whelp stage.
Yep.
You're dead.
Oh, actually, no. 2 interaction spells. So there's the Sink into Stupor. So you can't take both the Sink into Stupor and
Wait,
the
and there's a 2
Disrupting
to pitch
Shoal.
to shoal. Yep. So take the sink because that's the 1-for-1, where instead Marty has 2-for-1 for the shoal.
Right.
And if you get in the sink, the Grizzlebrand's in hand for you to try again next time. Or I'm sorry, the Goryo's is in hand for you to try again. No, it gets countered. None of
Right.
the above. Because it's in hand if it gets synced.
Right.
Right. So it's important to take. Oh, but if we take the shoal, the Goryo's in hand again because he gets sunk.
Well, no, because you let the Goryo's resolve and you sink the Gristlebrand.
Okay. Huh. Would I rather Grizzlebrand in my hand or Marty 2-for-1 himself?
You have a frog.
That has frog. But
That's Spell Pierce.
but dead on the crackback because this word for 0 becomes Lotus and the sink becomes land. But good thing we're going to take the sink. So I think we want to take the sink no matter what because we don't die on the crackback and we don't lose now.
Right.
Okay, I'm taking the sink. I believe the card in the middle is Displacement Wave too, by the way.
Is that another land?
No, it's X blue bounce stuff. I swear that's what that card is.
So, but here's the thing: you are still casting
Oh, we took the shoal.
well, because you still have to cast the
Oh, it still forces Mario to use the sink. And we're using spell pierce. We
Oh.
passed the turn. Didn't Goryo's. And now Mario drew spell snare, which will be able to deal with the.
Ooh, spell snare. That's a good one.
Oh my goodness. That Thoughtseize turn took so long, but it's been so important. And this game has swung back the other direction now.
Thundertrap Trainer threatening.
It hurt me. Because Marty could cast the second Thundertrap Trainer and then have a 2-turn clock. But just doesn't need it. Doesn't want it.
Both players at 4.
Bold plays at 4. Oh my goodness. Down to the wire.
They're pretty crazy. It was a great finals
Great
match.
finals match.
It's a definite possibility that this Thundertrap Trainer is attacking for lethal. Actually, no, I take that back.
Why? Why you take it back?
Because Marty has a second whir, so whir for 0,
Oh, 2 were.
and then
Oh.
also have interaction
Okay, so
for the reanimation
yeah,
spell.
the snare. Dang. The
Dang.
spell snare drop was huge for Marty. Absolutely huge.
So whir for 0.
Become Lotus, kill you. Can't
2 mana.
can't draw with Grizzle. Oh, the Desperation Tainted Indulgence. Give me Spell Pierce.
Ooh, gets it.
Yeah, I don't think Marty has counter magic for this. Like the
But you
not
can
gonna use the
spell snare it.
Well, then gets Goryo's.
No, only has Svi only has one.
Only one land available after this.
Yeah.
Checking graveyards while this resolves. Those weren't the goods.
Didn't get there.
Dead.
Dead.
Holy cow! Congratulations to Marty. Absolute nail biter of a turn. In a moment on that Thoughtseize decides to let it go. The card that was taken was just enough to push it on through. And with that being said, Marty's your undefeated player on Mono Blue Belcher 4-0 here at the Nerd Rage Gaming home store in beautiful Buffalo Grove, Illinois. We are here every single week at 6:30. So if you do enjoy Modern, always stop by. This is twitch.tv/NRG store or youtube.com/nerdragegaming. And if you want to chat with these folks, maybe ask about the awesome deck list that they are playing, you can stop in and join our Discord. There are tons of channels that are format specific, talking to players. This is also important if you're looking to find teams for any of the upcoming NRG series team events. There are tons of people that you can spot in here. Format specialists, people who might really like Limited for the upcoming Final Fantasy. This is a great time to stop by. I think there is literally a dedicated channel called Looking for Teams. So you can jump on in there, find those folks, find all those like-minded players. If you want to play games, right here at the Buffalo Grove home store for Nerd Rage Gaming. Stream live on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Tuesdays is Lorcana, Wednesday is Modern Magic like you just saw, and Thursdays is Pokemon. Fridays is Boomer Zoomer Magic Night, Legacy Standard, as well as a little spicy One Piece. The Saturday into Monday is that Digimon weekend with Elder Dragon Highlander as well. And Tuesdays they got One Piece if Lorcana isn't your jam. Thank you all so very much for joining us. If you want to join the Nerd Rage Gaming series, so not just playing at locals, but playing the big events, In July, St. Paul for Modern and Legacy. August in Lansing for Standard and Team Standard Modern Pauper. Mundelein has 10K Standard and a TBD. In November is Team Standard Sealed Modern and 10K Modern. Remember, a showdown means you get a token and an auto queue for champs on top of all of them big dollars. Thank you all so much very much for joining us. Like I said, we are here every week at 6:30, right here where you found us right now. Please join us next week. I've been Dom Striker. That's May. Thank you all so much and have a great night.
See you later.